Hello everyone, this is Kawainame TV. This video is all about what if Naruto was a girl. This story is a fanfiction. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Kindly click the bell button for more updates. Chapter 1. Naruto Age 2 years old. Naruto, sweetie, wake up, I brought breakfast. A kindly feminine voice said from her bedroom door. Naruto just rolled over and snuggled deeper into her blankets, mumbling, 5 more minutes. It's already 9:30. The voice sounded stern. Now get up before I send in Sasuke in here to wake you up. You wouldn't. The little blonde girl sat up sounding scandalized. I would, was the simple reply. You could almost see the woman laughing. But Makoto Obasan, and he has too much energy for mornings. Naruto whined. You have twice as much, if not more, energy once you wake up. Makoto said while laughing. Now you have 5 minutes to get to the table or I'll send him in. With that, Makoto closed the door and headed to the kitchen. Naruto groggily got up and got ready for the day. She decided to wear an orange floral printed sundresses that went almost to her ankle. Naruto was about 28 inches tall and weighed about 25 pounds, so she was slightly smaller than she should have been, but she was still the cutest 2-year-old you had ever seen. She had golden skin, liquid honey-colored hair with red highlights that shone in direct sunlight, and the brightest azure eyes with a smile to match. Once she was dressed, she left her room. She saw Sasuke in her living room watching TV. She said a quick, good morning, then headed to the kitchen with her brush in hand. Koto Obasan, can you braid my hair, please? Naruto asked, holding up her hairbrush. Sure, sweetie. Makoto said, you eat your breakfast while I do it. After Naruto finished her breakfast, she joined Sasuke in the living room. They soon decided to color instead of watching cartoons. After a while, Makoto came out of the kitchen and asked if they wanted to go to the park. Hi, Sasuke shouted, jumping around. Let me go change my clothes. Naruto said as she ran to her room. When she came back out, she was in an orange t-shirt and denim jeans. Naru, what was wrong with what you were wearing? Makoto asked. Panther Nichan told me dresses were for looking pretty, not for playing in sandboxes. Naruto said as she and Sasuke ran to the door to put on their shoes. Makoto grabbed the bag of toys and other things, first aid kit, sunscreen, etc. Once they got to the playground reserved for clan children, Naruto dragged Sasuke over to the sandbox where she saw a girl with shoulder-length platinum ash blonde hair burying something, which turned out to be a boy with medium-length brown hair. Hey Ino, what you doing? Naruto asked, watching the other girl. I bury Shika. The girl replied. I can see that, but why? Naruto asked. Won't build castle with me. Ino pouted. Shikamaru, why can't you just build the sand castle? Naruto asked. Troublesome. I wanna look at the pretty clouds. He replied without moving. You're only 2 and already lazy. Naruto said with a sigh. I know Sasuke and I will build a castle with you, Ino. Really? Ino asked. Of course. Right, Sasuke. Naruto said. Sasuke, how did you get antisocial between my home and here? Who's antisocial? Sasuke asked. It's not a person, it's a word. It's pronounced anti-social, Naruto said, and it means you don't talk to people. I speaked. Sasuke said. No, is a sound, not an answer. Naruto said. It how father and Nitan speaks. Sasuke pouted. Your 2 don't get all stoic yet. Naruto exclaimed. Now how about we build sandcastles? Hi. Sasuke and Ino cheered and they started building castles, and Shikamaru just laid in the sand buried. After a couple hours, Makoto and Ishiko Ano's mom's name cause she doesn't have one, decided it was time to leave. Ino and Naruto dusted off Shikamaru as Sasuke started picking up the toys. Once Ino and Shikamaru left, Naruto helped pick up and they went to lunch at Ikiraku's. Afterwards, Makoto and Sasuke dropped Naruto back off at her apartment. Naruto, I want you to lock the door as soon as you're inside. Makoto said, I have to go home and can't stay, and seeing as Panther is on a mission, you'll have to spend a couple of hours alone until Wolf and Cat show up. Do not let anyone in. Do you understand? Hi. I was going to take a nap. Naruto said. I really wish I didn't have to leave you by yourself. Makoto said with a sigh. If it weren't for clan obligations, I would stay. I'll send Itachi over with dinner at 6, that way you have a kitchen left when Panther comes back next week. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Bye Koto Obasan. Bye Sasuke. Naruto said as she went inside and locked the door. Once she was by herself, she went in her room and got the stuff Panther left her so she could practice her reading and writing. She practiced for about an hour before she decided to pick it up and watch some TV. She fell asleep, which is how Wolf and Cat found her. Naru-chan, wake up. A male voice said next to her. He gave her a shake. You shouldn't sleep on the couch. Wolf. Naruto shouted as she saw who woke her. She jumped on him with a big hug. Wolf was a lanky, 16-year-old with spiky, lopsided hair that was usually covered with a bandana but today was uncovered and dyed brown, but Naru saw some silver showing. Ma, I'm glad to see you too, Naru-chan. He gave her a quick squeeze before setting her down. Naru, what do you want for dinner? Cat asked as he walked out of the kitchen holding a glass of water. Cat was your average size 12-year-old, you could still see some baby fat where his Anbu uniform didn't cover, but otherwise he was well built. Oh, you don't have to cook tonight. Naruto said and saw Cat relax a little knowing he didn't have to cook. Obasan is having Idani bring us dinner around 6. Why? Wolf asked. We've been doing fine while Panther's been gone for the last week. Cat and Naruto sweat dropped at that comment. Wolf, you and Cat have set dinner on fire twice this week, each. Naruto said, when Panther gets back she gonna have to buy new pots and pans just so she can cook, cause the ones I have are now ruined. She's right, senpai. Cat agreed. Quiet Tenzo. Wolf muttered. Just then there was a knock at the door. Idani is here. Naruto shouted as she ran to the door and tackled the poor 7-year-old standing on the other side. Naru-chan, let the poor kid through the door before you attack him. Wolf said with a chuckle as her picked her up off Itachi. Welcome Itachi-kun, and come in. Sorry, Naruto mumbled to Itachi, I just got excited cause I never see you anymore, cause you're so busy. It's alright, Itachi said as he ruffled her hair as he passed her on his way to the kitchen, with Naruto right behind him. He pulled out a scroll, unrolled it, and set it on the counter. Naruto watched as the tips of his fingers started to glow purple with chakra. Idani, whatcha doing and where's dinner? Naruto asked. Just watch, Itachi said as he touched the scroll with his fingers. Instantly bowls of food appeared on the counter. That was awesome. Naruto yelled, can you teach me to do that? Please. Maybe when you're a little older. Itachi replied and gave her one of his rare smiles. Why can't you teach me now? Naruto asked. You have to wait until you're at least 3 before you start working with chakra, otherwise you can get serious injured. Itachi told her. What's chakra? Naruto asked as Wolf entered the kitchen. It's something ninjas use to do awesome things. Wolf said. Naruto heard a smirk in his voice at the vague answer. That's the kind of answer you give an idiot. She said glaring at Wolf, her hair raising slightly in her anger causing Wolf to snicker. You're cute when angry, Naru-chan. Wolf said chuckling. I'm always cute, she said continuing to glare at him. Hi, Itachi-kun can explain chakra to you. Wolf said redirecting her attention, so he could serve dinner. Chakra is the physical energy that is present in every cell of your body. Itachi paused for a moment to let that sink in before continuing, it's also the spiritual energy you get from meditation, exercise, and of course experience. Understand? Naruto plopped down on the floor where she stood and closed her eyes with her brow furrowed in concentration. Which both Itachi and Wolf found ridiculously cute. You gotta admit any kind of serious expression on a kid is cute. She sat like that for a couple minutes when suddenly she opened her eyes and looked at Wolf with a piercing stare. Can you teach me to meditate? She asked. Only if you promise not to try and use chakra before I say it's alright. Wolf said, using chakra without proper guidance can be dangerous. I promise, she said with a determined look. Okay, I'll start teaching you tomorrow. Wolf said. Right now let's eat, okay. Are you going to stay Itachi-kun? No, thank you. I must get home soon or mother will start to worry. Itachi said. I understand. Wolf said, by the way, could you let Makoto-san know that Hokage-sama is going to make his weekly check-in tomorrow night? I'll let mother know. Good night, Naru, Itachi said as he left. Do you think Asuni will come with Ji-chan? Naruto asked. I haven't seen him very much since he became a Junin a couple months ago. I don't know, Junin are very busy. Wolf said as he gave her dinner. Now eat. Hi. Naruto ate her dinner, then Cat cleaned up as Wolf gave her bath and got her ready for bed. Once she was in bed, Wolf told her a bedtime story. Tonight it was about a powerful kunoichi that was kinda brash with a fiery temper and hair to match but was kind-hearted. Sometimes he told her about a great shinobi who was the kind-hearted hero of the village and loved by everyone. Chapter 2. Naruto Age 4 years old. It was 11 a.m. on a sunny day. Naruto was walking back to her apartment by herself because Sasuke had started his ninja training months ago when he turned 4, and Koto Obasan was overseeing his training. So Makoto would only come over in the morning to make breakfast and then drop her off at the clan park until Panther Ni-chan would pick her up for lunch. However, today was special because Hokage Ji-chan was coming over to celebrate her birthday. Sure, he was a week and a half late, but seeing as her birthday fell on the Kyuubi anniversary and everyone was mourning and doing stupid things, as Kat Nizan said, the Hokage ended up very busy with lots of paperwork. So he couldn't go home, much less celebrate her birthday, and she understood. Suddenly she was pulled out of her thoughts by her bumping into someone, causing her to fall to the ground. "You stupid monster, how dare you run into me," someone said as they kicked her upside the head. "I'm sorry," she whispered. She wasn't really sure why this was happening. I mean, she had always heard the whispers because her senses were as enhanced as Wolf's. Why is that thing kept in the village? I'm glad Anbu guard it 24/7. They should just kill the demon and be done with it, but no one had ever attacked her. She tried to get up, but the person would just kick her, causing her to collapse back on the ground in a heap. After a few more failed attempts to get up, she decided to just lie there, hoping her tormentor would get bored. They soon did. After a particularly hard kick to her side that cracked a couple ribs. She wasn't worried though, cause she learned she heals extremely quick after she fell off the park slide and broke her arm. She slowly got up and walked home, refusing to cry. Once she got to her apartment, she saw the Hokage standing outside her apartment. She put on her biggest smile and forgot the pain she was in because of the happiness she felt at seeing her. Ji-chan outweighed the pain. "Ji-chan, you're early," Naruto yelled as she ran to him. "I ran out of paperwork," he replied. "Now tell me what happened to you, you're covered in dirt." He sounded suspicious, like he knew something bad happened. Naruto froze for a second, then her grin got bigger. "I tripped and fell in the sandbox at the playground," she said as she scratched the back of her head. "I guess I gotta clean up before we can celebrate, huh? How about you go take a quick bath, then I'll take you to get some ramen," the Hokage said, not believing her about tripping. Naruto practically ran to the bathroom to wash up, then they went to Ikiraku's where she ate 8 bowls of ramen. I have seen lots of people misspell ramen in their stories, and I'm just wondering how that is possible because it is like the most used word in the manga in under 15 minutes. Once they were done, they went back to Naruto's apartment. "So what did you get for your birthday?" the Hokage asked as they ate some cake. "Well, let's see." Naruto paused to remember. "Koto Obasan got me a stuffed fox, that I named Daidairo, cause of his color, but I call him Dai, for short, and she got me a stuffed frog, that I named Yondaime, cause in one of Wolf's stories he said the Yondaime rode a giant toad. Sasuke gave me a picture book about ninjas, even though I can read just fine. Idani gave me a scroll about chakra control." Naruto paused for a breath, then asked, "Do you want to see Yondaime and Dai, Ji-chan?" "Sure," the Hokage replied with a smile. Naruto jumped up and ran to her room and soon returned with a red-orange plushy fox and a plushy green frog. "They are very cute, Naru." "I know," she gushed, hugging the toys tightly. "So did you get anything else?" "Hi. Asuni got me a scroll of D and C ranked elemental jutsu, but he said I'm not allowed to practice them until I graduate the academy. Panther Ni-chan got me a practice sword that she is going to train me how to use. Wolf got me a book on ninja history and a book on Konoha history, and Kat Nizan gave me a fake Kitsune Anbu mask, but I think Wolf told him to get it for me cause he's the only person who knew I wanted one." Naruto said, "It sounds like your birthday was lots of fun. I regret that I had to miss it." The Hokage said, "It's okay, you had to work or the village would have been in chaos. I understand. You are so grown up for your age, you really should complain more about things," the Hokage said with a sigh. "Why?" Naruto asked. "Then I'd be a brat like Kiba or Ino. Wolf and Koto Obasan say I act so mature because I'm a second-generation prodigy. That may just be true. So do you want the presents I brought for you?" he asked. Hi, Onagai," Naruto shouted, jumping up and down. The Hokage just laughed and handed her a box wrapped in bright orange paper. She tore the paper off quickly and opened it. Inside were 10 blunt practice kunai and 10 blunt practice shuriken. "I thought Itachi-kun might be able to help you practice with those, when he's not too busy with his own training. I know he's been helping you with your chakra," the Hokage said. "Of course any of the Anbu could also help with your training." "Thank you, Ji-chan," Naruto said, giving him a big hug. "These are the most awesome gift." "You're welcome," the Hokage replied. "Now I also have some gifts for you from your godparents, even though you haven't had the chance to meet them." "I have godparents?" Naruto asked. "Who are they and why haven't I met them?" Shouldn't they be the ones caring for me? Well, your godfather is a ninja named Jiraiya, who works outside the village running our spy network. Cool. And your godmother, Tsunade, is also a ninja but due to some personal issues finds it easier to live outside the village. However, both stay in contact and ask about you all the time. The Hokage explained, they both thought it would be better for you to grow up in the village, and seeing as neither could stay in the village asked for the Anbu to watch over you in their absence. Understand. Sorta. Naruto said, do you think I can meet them someday? I am very sure you will be able to meet them. The Hokage said with a smile, now do you want the presents they sent you? Hi. Okay, this one is from Jiraiya. He handed her something that looked like a deflated green frog, and these are from Tsunade. He gave her a plushy white slug with 2 blue streaks down its back, and tied around its neck was an Ikiraku's gift card. How much ramen can I buy with the card? What's with the deflated frog? Naruto asked. The gift card is for $200 and the deflated frog is a change purse, you put money in it. He answered, stifling a laugh. Naruto's face had lit up at how much ramen she could buy, and once she learned what the deflated frog was, she grabbed it and ran into her room. When she came out, it was the size of a tennis ball. She was petting the purse and whispering, my sweet Gama-chan, like, my precious, from LOTR, only kawaii. So your change purse has a name? The Hokage asked, what about your slug? Naruto untied the gift card from the slug and stared at it intensely. After a couple minutes her eyes lit up. Her name is going to be Haim, 'cause she looks like she should be princess of the slugs. Naruto said with a big smile. I would have to say that's a very appropriate name. The Hokage said as he looked at the clock on the wall and sighed. Panther should be here soon, which means I have a meeting to attend. That's okay, Ji-chan, I understand. Naruto said with a smile. I know you do. The Hokage said. He saw Naruto looking at him with a contemplative look on her face. Is something wrong, Naru? Can I ask a serious question? Naru asked with her most serious face. Yes, and I promise to answer as best as I can. The Hokage said. Who are my parents, and what happened to them? Naruto asked. Whenever I ask Kodo Obasan or Wolf Ni, all I get is that they were great shinobi. Kodo Obasan sometimes talks about when she and my mom were on a Jenin team together, but it's never anything more than the fact she was hot-tempered, loud, and brash. Well, it's true, both your parents were great ninja. Hiruzen said, your mother was a fierce, loyal, kind, loving, and extremely hot-tempered kunoichi, and your father was a kind, generous, calm, intelligent, loyal, and trusting shinobi. I know their personalities already. Naruto said, I want to know their names and how they died. I can't tell you that, Hiruzen said. What? Why? Naruto shouted. It's too dangerous. The Hokage said patiently, I'll tell you when you can protect yourself. Your parents had many enemies both inside the village and out. Your ignorance on the matter is what keeps you safe. Do you understand? Yes, but that doesn't mean I like it. Naruto pouted, can I at least know how they died? They died protecting the village from the Kyuubi just like many of our shinobi. Hiruzen said as Panther walked into the kitchen. Panther was a 14-years-old girl with a slim build and long purple hair. She bowed to the Hokage but otherwise stayed silent. Well, Naru, does that answer your questions? Yes. Naru said, and then a thought popped into her head, wait, one more. Do I have any family left? No, not technically. Hiruzen said, but if either of your parents had lived, Wolf would have become your adopted brother. No. Naruto shouted, Wolf can't be my brother. I won't allow it. Why? Do you not like Wolf? Hiruzen asked. Of course I like Wolf. Naruto said like it was the most obvious thing in the world, but if he was my brother I couldn't marry him. The Hokage was stunned. Does Wolf know he's marrying you? Panther asked, laughing. He doesn't know yet, but I'll let him know once I'm older. Naruto said. Panther shook harder with laughter. Soon after, the Hokage left and Naruto talked Panther into training her with the wooden katana. They left a note for Itachi, who was coming over after he was finished with his Chunin duties, to help Naruto with her chakra training. Around 5 p.m. Panther and Naruto headed back to Naruto's apartment as Itachi, who had joined them at the training ground, headed to his home for dinner. Wolf was already at the apartment when they returned, and as soon as Panther saw him she burst out laughing. What's wrong with you? He asked in a bored tone. Oh, nothing. Panther said, heading to the kitchen. Watch, Naru, dinner will be done soon. So what do you want to do, Naru-chan? Wolf asked the little blonde. Can we watch the movie I borrowed from Shino? She asked. Who's Shino? Wolf asked. And what's the movie? The movie is called A Bug's Life, it's animated. Naruto said. Fine, but you didn't answer my first question. Wolf said. He's the Aburame clan heir. Naruto said, did you know they have bugs in their bodies? I did know that. Wolf said. They watched the movie, ate dinner, and Naruto got a bath. After all that, Naruto was sitting in the living room reading one of the books Wolf had bought her. Naru, it's 9 o'clock, so it's time for bed. Panther said from the table where her and Wolf were playing poker. I'm not tired. Naruto whined, I wanna read some more. Hey Wolf, get off your ass and put your future wife to bed. Panther said laughing. Nei-chan, don't tell him that. Naruto said with a pout, which only caused Panther to laugh harder. Come on my little wifey. Wolf said teasingly as he headed for Naruto's room, I'll tell you a story about how a beautiful kunoichi whose hair became her red thread of fate. What do you say? Coming. Naruto got up and ran into her room. She sat on her bed and waited for Wolf to sit next to her and start the story. By the time the story was over, she was curled up in his lap with her arms wrapped around him. Wolf unwrapped her, then laid her in the bed, gave her a kiss on the forehead and left the room. Chapter 3. Naruto age 6 years old. It was the day after Naruto's 6th birthday and she found herself waking up in a sterile, white room that smelled like bleach and a mix of other cleaners. Looking around, she realized she was in the hospital and tried to remember how she got there. That was when the memory hit her like a ton of bricks. Flashback. Naruto ran through the streets crying, I know I was being childish and that it was bound to happen eventually, but this next week is so important and Wolf is leaving for a month tomorrow, the day before my birthday. He's never missed anything important like this before. I know he's a ninja and ninja left every day to go on missions. I even knew that being Anbu means the missions were even more important. Even one failure could destroy the village and I don't want that because one day the village will be mine cause I'm gonna be Hokage. She was just mad that Wolf had told her he was going to miss her birthday and her first day of the academy that she ran out of the apartment late at night and ran through the dark streets. Once she calmed down, she looked at her surroundings. I have never been here before, it looks like a civilian area. Naruto noticed that she was in an area full of clubs and bars, so she turned around and headed away from the area. However, before she got very far, she found herself surrounded by a group of drunken men. Well, if it isn't the demon bitch. The first man slurred a little. What should we do with her? The second asked. I say kill it. The third said. By now Naruto was getting worried for her safety. Suddenly the fourth man grabbed her by the hair and she was dragged into an alley where the four men proceeded to kick and punch her. After 15 minutes of being beaten, she remembered to flare her chakra like Itachi taught her. She was in a heap on the ground with a broken arm, 2 broken ribs, and several more cracked. She was also covered in bruises when she heard her attackers speak again. How about we have some fun with the little slut before we kill her? It has been a while since I got some ass. I say we see how long it takes to break the bitch. The next thing Naruto knew, the men were trying to take off her clothes. She fought back with all her strength, but she was quickly overpowered. Her clothes were ripped off and she was having a hard time seeing clearly through her tears. Her only thought as the first man got into position was, Wolf, save me. Just as the man was about to violate her, a kunai sunk into his chest and blood blossomed around the wound as the man fell to the ground. Naruto looked around and noticed the other men were also on the ground and assumed they were all dead. Naruto, are you all right? She looked toward the worried voice and recognized the wolf mask. Wolf, you came. Naruto whispered before she fell unconscious. End flashback. She did a self-evaluation and found her arm and ribs only hurt a little and would be fine in the morning. She knew there was a squad of Anbu watching her, so she decided to get their attention. Anbu Captain-san, Naruto said to a woman with long, shaggy brown hair, in an Inu mask, appeared at the foot of her hospital bed. Could you summon Panther and Hokage-sama here for me, please? Naruto watched as the woman flashed through hand signs. Inu-san, I thought Wolf was on a mission. The woman tilted her head before answering. Someone took his place due to some circumstances. Inu replied. Oh, how long have I been unconscious? Naruto asked. Just then there was a puff of smoke and a whirl of leaves. Wolf, why didn't you go on your mission? You said it was important and needed the Sharingan. Ma, relax Naru-chan. Wolf said, I'm not the only Anbu with a Sharingan, besides I couldn't leave while the princess was in the hospital. Now could I? But if it was important, doesn't that mean the village is in danger if something goes wrong? Naruto asked, I didn't mean to mess up everything. Ma, relax. You didn't mess up anything. Wolf said as he wrapped her in a hug, seeing how she was stressing herself out. I sent Weasel in my place and he has 2 Sharingan. She took a calming breath. Did he get enough rest after his last mission? Naruto asked. Wasn't it a B rank? He'll be fine. Wolf replied and let her go. Now let's worry about you. How do you feel? Before she could answer, they were interrupted by a cough from the forgotten Anbu who watched the exchange. They both looked at the Inu masked Anbu. Don't you think you tell the child too much? Inu asked. She does not need any mission info, and I noticed the child recognized hand speak that only Anbu should be privy to. Depending on how much she knows, she could be a liability to the village, and Hokage-sama should be informed. Just then the door opened and the Hokage walked in with Panther at his heels. Wolf and Inu gave him a bow, while Naruto jumped out of the bed and tackled him with a hug. Hokage-sama, about the child, Inu started but was silenced by the Hokage's raised hand. Your worries are understandable, but I am well aware of the child's knowledge. Hiruzen said. I also know for a fact that all she knows is safe, as we once had Bear try to get her to spill her knowledge. You will be happy to know that even under his special technique she didn't crack. You know I'm still here, right? Naruto asked, getting annoyed that they were acting like she wasn't there. You can tell her how I made Ibiki and Enko want to bash their heads against a wall later. How long was I unconscious? And when can I go home? I feel fine, but I have to wait a couple days, till I can train again. Well, it's Friday now, so 2.5 days. The Hokage said, and you should be able to be released once a doctor checks you. Good, 'cause I need to go shopping for new clothes before I start the academy. Naruto said, and Nei-chan, I need you to cut my hair. I'm gonna change as much as I can. Naru-chan, why are you trying to change everything? Wolf asked with a hint of worry in his voice. I'm not traumatized or anything. Naruto said, catching the tone, but I want to limit the chances something like that will happen again. Naruto, what are you going to do? Hiruzen asked curiously. I'm going to pretend to be a boy until I can stop an attack like that on my own. Naruto said determinedly. I thought about it, and while some people would still attack me that way, most won't. I'm also going to stay as far away from bars and clubs as possible, because alcohol makes people stupid. It's your decision. Hiruzen said. He knew that Naruto's reasoning wasn't correct and the villagers would do anything to hurt her because of what was sealed inside of her. However, she didn't know anything about that, and he wanted it to stay that way until she was ready to handle it, but he figured if this decision made her feel safer, then it was good to just go along with it, as her happiness was his number one concern. Soon a doctor arrived and Naruto was allowed to go home. Monday morning was Naruto's first day of the academy, so standing in front of the class was a blonde with spike hair, azure eyes, golden skin, and a bright goofy grin. The blonde was about 3 feet 2 in and wearing a bright orange jumpsuit with blue ninja sandals and a pair of green goggles on his forehead. Class. The teacher called to get everyone's attention. We have a new student. The teacher shot Naruto a look that said, I can't stand you, but she ignored him, and as she was told to introduce herself. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, I'm a 6-year-old boy, I love ramen, and one day I'm gonna be Hokage. Naruto exclaimed. Now go sit down. The teacher commanded. She did as told, heading to the back row and sat next to a boy with a spiky ponytail, who looked like he was asleep. The boy cracked his eye open and looked at her until he realized he would have to speak to get an answer to the obvious question. Naru, why are you pretending to be a boy? The boy asked. It's complicated, maybe I'll explain it later if I don't find it too troublesome. Naruto said with a smirk. You know I hate not having answers. The boy said. I know, Shikamaru, by the way my name is Naruto in public, Naru sounds too girly. Naruto said. That's because you're a girl. Shikamaru said, closing his eyes. Yeah, I'll give you some answers during lunch. Naruto said as she turned to pay attention to the teacher even if she already knows everything he was saying. TCH. Troublesome. Was the last thing she heard before she fell asleep from boredom. She woke up for lunch and told Shikamaru all about why she pretended to be a boy, and he agreed to help keep her secret. After lunch she decided to try and participate, only to realize the teacher ignoring her unless it was to shot her dirty looks, so she just went to sleep until school was over. After school she was picked up by Yugao, aka Panther, but seeing as it was her day off she was maskless. Naruto, I have a surprise for you. Yugao said, so instead of practicing with your katana until dinner you're just going to watch, okay. What does that have to do with my surprise, Nei-chan? Naruto asked. Well, you're going to watch me and a friend of mine spar so I can test my skills. Yugao said, my friend is a kenjutsu master and they promised to teach you some of their moves. Awesome. Naruto cheered as he jumped around. I don't mind watching you practice for a while because I might learn something awesome. So the two headed to the training ground to meet Yugao's friend. Standing in the middle of their usual training ground, number 7, was a guy about 17 years old. Yugao is 16, with short brown hair mostly covered with a forehead protector worn as a bandana. He also had dark shadows under his eyes and looked sort of sickly. Other than that, he was average looking. Am I gonna catch what he has? Naruto asked as they walked toward the guy. Yugao laughed before answering. Only if he kisses you. Yugao teased, hoping to get a raise out if the girl. No, Naruto shouted as expected, he can't have my first kiss. Why saving it for someone? Yugao asked teasingly as they reached the man. Maybe. Naruto pouted. Can brats your age even have crushes? You're like what for? The man asked Naruto. I'm not a brat, I'm very mature for my age. Naruto shouted angrily. And I'm 6, I'm just short for my age, but I'll have my growth sprouts soon. Believe it. Naru, this is my friend Gecko Hayate, he already knows you're not really a boy. Yugao said. Hayate, meet my Imouto, Naruto, she has a crush on Konoha's copy Nin. Nei-chan, that's a secret. Naruto whined at Yugao, and then turned to Hayate. It's nice to meet you, and seeing as you're Nei-chan's friend you can call me Naru, but not Naru-chan, only Wolf can call me that. Hayate looked at Yugao, who gave him a, see what I mean, look before he turned back to Naruto. It's nice to meet you as well, Naru. I must say you're aiming high, crushing on the copy Nin, no one has ever been able to tie him down. Oh, she doesn't have to worry. Yugao said, she already has him wrapped around her little finger. I'll show you after we're done training. Yugao had seen the skeptical look on Hayate's face. Naru, go sit on the edge of the field so you're out of range of any attacks. Naruto did as told and went to sit by the 3 wooden stumps on the edge of the field and watch them train for an hour and a half. Then she was able to train with Hayate for a half hour. She even used some of the simpler moves she memorized from Yugao and Hayate's spar. Soon they left the training ground so Naru could eat her dinner and do any homework she had. Half to the apartment, Hayate asked Yugao when she was going to show him what she had meant earlier. Yugao turned to Naruto. Naru, flare your chakra. But that's only for emergencies. Naruto said, Wolf will be mad if I do it without a reason. I'll worry about Wolf, I just want to prove something to Hayate. Yugao said, smirking mischievously, before turning to Hayate, you'll find this hilarious, but if you even mention this to anyone he will probably beat you to death. Okay, go, Naru. Naruto flared her chakra and within 2 minutes a wolf-masked Anbu was at her side. Naru-chan, what's wrong? Are you hurt? Did someone attack you again? Do you nay, Wolf? Naruto shouted, getting his attention. I'm fine, Yune had me flare my chakra to prove a Pyo. She was cut off by Yugao and Hayate bursting into laughter. Oh dear Kami, he's so whipped and she just a kid. Hayate said between fits of laughter. Guy would kill to see him show so much youthful spirit, instead of his usual laid-back lazy air. Wolf was giving off enough killing intent to suffocate someone, but Naruto just stood by his side like it was nothing, seeing as she was trained to withstand it. If Guy or anyone for that matter even hears about this, I will make sure you regret every breath you have ever taken. Wolf growled. Relax, I'm not that cruel. Hayate said with labored breathing. Wolf lower his key a little, I was mainly stating how bored you appear around everyone. Maybe they just aren't as interesting as me. Naruto said, causing Wolf to laugh and drop the killing intent altogether. Hayate's knees finally failed and Yugao was still shaking from Wolf's ki. Naruto walked up to Hayate and looked down at him. Do you want to join us for dinner as a treat for training me? Yune cooks almost as well as Koto Obasan. Naruto said, but don't make Wolf mad again, it won't end pretty, just ask Katni. Hayate just looked at the girl amazed as he tried to figure out how she withstood so much ki when it floored him, literally, and she just stood unfazed waiting for his answer, so he just nodded. She smiled at him as she turned and headed back towards Wolf, wobbling a bit. About halfway to him she fell, but Wolf caught her before she hit the ground. Wolf, your ki is starting to affect me, can you carry me? Naruto sobbed. Wolf scooped her up in his arms and cradled her to his chest where she rested her head comfortably on his shoulder. That little faker. Yugao muttered as she helped Hayate off the ground. What? He asked, dumbfounded. Just look at her, what do you see? Yugao asked. Hayate looked and saw a smirk that clearly said, I win, on Naruto's face. He's just spoiling her, Yugao continued. We all know she can withstand cage-level ki without any effect. Hayate was completely dumbfounded and intrigued by the little blonde quandary that is Naruto. The group just headed back to Naruto's apartment for regular nightly activities, i.e. dinner, bath, bed. Chapter 4. Naruto Age 8 years old. It was just after lunch on a Saturday when Wolf showed up. Naruto was sitting in her living room reading a book about offensive taijutsu types. She was wearing the bright orange jumpsuit and her goggles. She was now 3 feet 4 in tall, which meant she was still shorter than all her friends, which consisted of just the clan heirs. Naru-chan, are you ready? Wolf asked. He was going to spend today with her because in 2 days he was leaving for a mission that would last 2 years, but more importantly, tomorrow he was resigning as an Anbu. Hi, just let me mark my page. Naruto replied as she remembered their conversation from a couple days ago. Flashback. Naruto, I have to talk to you about something important. Wolf said as he sat down on the bed next to her. Did I do something wrong? She asked, worried seeing as he didn't use her nickname. No, but I wanted to let you know I wasn't going to be around after this week. Wolf replied, I'm retiring from being Anbu on Sunday, and on Monday I will just be an elite Junin. Am I never going to see you again? Naruto asked, trying to hold back her tears. I don't want you to leave. I know, he whispered as he wrapped her in a comforting hug. You probably won't see me for a while because once I'm a regular Junin I am leaving on a 2-year mission, but I promise I'll still be there if you need me. You really promise? Naruto asked with hope shining in her eyes. Wolf just nodded his head as a thought struck him. Hey Naru-chan, why don't I spend all day Saturday with you? We can do anything you want. Wolf said, what do you think? Really? Naruto asked. All day. Well, I have something I have to do in the morning, Wolf said, but I'll pick you up at lunchtime and we can eat out. What do you have to do? Naruto asked with a pout. I have to pick a new captain for the team to take my place. I have to make sure the princess is protected while I'm away, Wolf said, causing Naruto to giggle. So what kind of story do you want for bed? And flashback, so what do you want for lunch? Wolf asked, snapping Naruto back to reality. Actually, I made us a picnic lunch with some help from Koto Obasan seeing as Nei-chan was busy. Naruto said happily, then maybe after lunch you can help me with my training. Sounds like a good idea to me. Wolf said, I'll head to training ground 7 to make sure no one is there and that's where we can have our picnic. Okay, I just have to grab the picnic basket. Naruto said, as Wolf vanished in a swirl of leaves. 10 minutes later Naruto arrived at the training ground. So was anyone here? Naruto asked. No, then again I didn't think anyone would be. Wolf said as he watched Naruto set up the picnic. Did you know training grounds 1 to 10 were reserved for rookie Jenin teams? Then why is this training ground never in use? Naruto asked. Because there hasn't been a Team 7 in over 8 years. Wolf said. Why not? Naruto asked. What's so special about Team 7? Nothing really, I guess. It was original the second squad. Wolf said, it soon became a tradition for the new squad to be led by a former member. Did you know every Hokage has been on Team 7? Hokage-sama ever led Team 7 once. I didn't know Ji-chan led a Jenin team. Naruto said, I bet they became awesome shinobi, did they? As a matter of fact they did. Wolf said, they became 3 of the most powerful ninja Konoha has ever had. They are called the legendary Sannin. Their names are Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru. Jiraiya, Tsunade. Naruto closed her eyes and thought for a minute, mumbling, where have I heard those names before? Suddenly her eyes opened, bugging out. Those are my godparents' names, she shouted. Really? Wolf asked in a bored tone. Well, Jiraiya was the next to lead Team 7 and had the 4th Hokage, Minato Namikaze, on his team. Wow, we just started learning about him in history, plus I read about him in the books you gave me. Was he a leader of Team 7? Sort of. He took over after the team was already Chunin. You see, he helped apprentice one of the members because he was a prodigy, but the Jenin team was actually led by one of his former teammates. However, the man died on a mission during the middle of the Third Shinobi War, but under the 4th Team 7 helped put an end to the war. However, 2 of the team members did not survive and only the 4th's apprentice is alive today. Really? Naruto asked. You could hear the sadness she felt from the story in her voice. So who's the survivor and why doesn't he lead Team 7? His name is Hitaki Kakashi. He became rather antisocial after the deaths of his teammates in the 4th. He is only seen on missions and when some of his friends drag him out with them. As for the thing about the team, I have a feeling Hokage-sama will make him take a team soon. Wolf said, and Naruto thought she heard annoyance in his voice. Enough about Team 7, why don't you show me what you've learned and tell me about school? Yash. Prepare to be amazed, Datbeo. Naruto said as she ran to the middle of the field and demonstrated her taijutsu with and without weapons and her kenjutsu katas for 20 minutes each. After the she showed him her academy jutsus, which honestly needed some work, so he gave her some pointers. So anything new with your friends? Wolf asked. Well, Sasuke found out that Ida spends his time training me instead of him and decided that he was going to prove he's better than me in everything. Naruto said with a sigh, which shouldn't be hard seeing I'm just an idiot prankster at school. Why? Because if I show how smart I am, the teachers punish me for cheating. She said, I know the teachers and most of the villagers hate me, even if I don't know why. It doesn't matter though, because once I become a ninja, I'll just prove there's no reason to hate me, then I'll become the greatest Hokage ever and protect everyone. How are you supposed to become a ninja if those ignorant fools they call teachers keep failing you? Wolf gritted out. Relax, written is only 1/4 of the final grade, then there's target practice, taijutsu, and ninjutsu. She said, and the only way to cheat on those is if you have a Sharingan or something, and even Sasuke doesn't have that. So is that all? Wolf asked. Well, Ino stopped hanging out with us because she has a crush on Sasuke and she doesn't want him to think she likes me or one of the other boys, especially me though because I'm a dead last. Naruto said. So you're at the age where girls get crushes, nay? Wolf teased. So, Naru-chan got a crush of your own. Naruto blushed. All the boys I know are stupid and think I'm a guy, Naruto said. Well, with the exception of Shikamaru, he knows I'm a girl and he's smart, too. So you like the Nara heir? Wolf said. No, he's too lazy, plus he's more like a brother to me. So I guess all the boys are out. Naruto said, however I feel bad for Hinata, I think she has a crush on me, as in Naruto the boy. Why do you say that? Wolf asked, sounding amused. It's not funny and it took me a couple weeks to figure it out. Naruto said, Hinata's always been really shy and stutters a lot because she lacks self-confidence. But lately if I get within 5 feet of the girl she stutters even worse. Yesterday, I ended up standing next to her when we were practicing taijutsu. The poor girl blushed and started to hyperventilate. I thought something was wrong with her, and when I asked if she was alright, she blushed even harder and fainted. Kiba thought it was so funny he ended up rolling on the ground laughing. Well, look at that, not even out of the academy and you're already a lady killer. Wolf said laughing. I don't want to be a lady killer. You're just as bad as Kiba. Naruto shouted as she tackled Wolf. They spent the rest of the day sparring and talking about school and her friends. Once it started to get dark, Wolf brought her to Ikiraku's ramen stand for dinner. So what's my day going to be like from now on? Naruto asked as they sat silently. Well, the new captain decided that things were working well the way they are, but there will be some minor changes. Wolf said, Panther will still cook dinner every night at 5 o'clock and teach you to cook with Makoto-san's help on Saturdays. However, Cat won't be showing up until 8 o'clock to put you to bed and he will be on duty until morning. Yugao will still train you on Tuesday and Thursday, the new captain will watch you at all other times. Wolf finished speaking as they reached Naruto's apartment door. You're gonna make me ask who's taking over for you, aren't you? Naruto as she got inside, Wolf didn't reply and stood waiting for a couple seconds. Fine, I give. Who's the new team captain? Weasel. Really? Asked excitedly, Ida gets to be in charge. Yes, he'll be here when you wake up and shadow you until you reach school. He'll do short missions while you're in school like the rest of the team, then he'll pick you up after school and help you with your training. Wolf told her, now it's time to clean up for bed. Hi, will you finish that story? Naruto asked. Sure, now get going. Wolf said. Naruto took a shower, then went to her room and sat on her bed waiting for Wolf so he could finish telling her the tale he'd been slowly telling her for years. It was a story about a powerful blonde shinobi and a hot-tempered red-headed kunoichi that met his children. At first they didn't get along, mainly because the kunoichi thought the blonde was a useless goofball. However, one day the kunoichi was kidnapped by enemy ninja and the blonde shinobi saved her by following a trail of the kunoichi's red hair. After that the two became friends and soon fell in love. Soon after they became a couple, the blonde learned the kunoichi housed a terrible demon inside her body. It was the kunoichi's job to keep the demon at bay and protect everyone from it. It was upon learning this that the blonde shinobi swore to her he would become the strongest shinobi ever so he could always protect her. He followed through on his promise and became the leader of their village with her right by his side. They lived a happy life until one day terror struck and the demon escapes its prison. And so the couple sacrificed their life to stop the demon from destroying their village, along with saving their most precious treasure. The end. Wolf finished. Shouldn't the story end in, and they lived happily ever after? Naruto asked. Besides, you never said what their most precious treasure was. I thought it was a perfect ending for two shinobi, they died to protect what they loved. Besides, ninja rarely have happy endings, so it's very realistic. Wolf said, as for their treasure, you'll figure it out when you get older. For now, just go to sleep. Hi. Naruto said sleepily as she yawned. Good night, Wolf. She whispered as she fell asleep. Goodbye, my little Naru-chan. Wolf said as he kissed the sleeping girl on the forehead before he left her bedroom through her window. Chapter 5. Naruto, age 9 to 10 years old. Yesterday was Shikamaru's 10th birthday, so his parents threw him a big birthday party, and afterwards all the boys, Naruto included, stayed for a sleepover. Naruto was woken up by Kiba yelling about something, which made her disorientated, and then she remembered that she had stayed for a sleepover at Shikamaru's and had shared the bed with him, because she was a sleep cuddler and she didn't want to accidentally cuddle Kiba, Choji, or Shino. Realizing she was supposed to be a boy and was currently wrapped around Shikamaru, she let go and sat up. Kiba, do you have to be so loud in the morning? She asked, rubbing the sleep from her eyes. You were just wrapped around Shikamaru. How else do you expect someone to react? Boys don't do that. Kiba shouted. Choji nodded in agreement and Shino just observed quietly like always. Troublesome. Shikamaru grumbled before rolling over. I'm used to it, so shut up and let me sleep. Just then the door to Shikamaru's room opened up and his mother looked in. Oh, you boys are awake. She said, breakfast is ready. Hi. They chorused in various stage of alertness. Oh, Naru dear, your stuff is still in the bathroom so you can have a shower to wake yourself up. Yoshino said. Thanks, Yoshino-san. Naruto said as she climbed over Shikamaru and headed to the door. She paused in the doorway. Is Shikaku-san home today? Yes, now go take your shower, Yoshino said, and Naruto headed for the bathroom. How often does he stay here? Choji asked as soon as Naruto was gone. It must be often, Shino spoke, but then Naruto must be lonely all alone. Yes, that's true, so Naruto stays here once or twice a week. Yoshino said, smiling. Naruto's practically my second child. Now why don't you four get up and head downstairs? That includes you, Shikamaru. 10 minutes later, Naruto joined everyone at the table and sat across for Shikamaru's dad, Shikaku. Have you heard from my wolf? Naruto asked as she looked at Shikaku. The report came in yesterday morning. Shikaku replied, if you ask, I'm sure Yugao will get you the information you want. I told you Yune would tease me mercilessly. Naruto said, besides, you're the head of the strategy and analysis department and have the information 3 days earlier than Nei-chan could get it. Troublesome, but the logic is sound. Shikaku sighed. So? Naruto asked curiously. Everything is still running ahead of schedule, he said, and as long as no unforeseen events happen, he'll be back shortly before your birthday. What are the chances your plan is flawed? How shortly? Naruto asked. 5%, 2 to 5 days, Shikaku replied after thinking for a moment, and Naruto relaxed. Kiba and Choji just stared at him with their mouths open while Shino and Shikamaru acted as if nothing happened, and breakfast continued until Kiba finally snapped out of his daze. What was that, Naruto? Kiba asked. What was what, Kiba? Naruto asked with an innocent look. You just interrogated Shika's dad. Kiba said, I thought you were an idiot. It was only a conversation. Naruto said, all ninjas have secrets, you come from a clan of them, you should know that. If you say so, but I have more questions. Kiba said. Just drop it, Kiba. Choji said as he started eating again. Naruto is entitled to secrets. Shino said. He's right, I don't have to tell you my secrets. Naruto said. And if I don't want to drop it, what are you going to do? Kiba said defiantly. Troublesome. Shikamaru and his father said as Naruto turned an icy glare toward Kiba. He started to leak a small amount of ki, it wasn't much but it was enough to scare a couple pre-Jenin, and said, I'll give you answers. He then smiled a sickly sweet smile that looked like it should be on a mass murderer's face, which caused Kiba and Choji to wet themselves a little. F for G get IA asked. Kiba whimpered, and Naruto relaxed to normal. Naruto, you don't threaten friends, Yoshino chastised, no matter how angry you are, and Kiba, you should know better than to pry into others' personal affairs. I believe you have learned your lesson about being nosy, or do I need to speak to Sum-san? I learned, you don't need to speak to Ka-san. Kiba said in a rush. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that, no matter how I felt. Naruto whispered, can you forgive me? Sure. Kiba and Choji replied, Just then an Anbu in a bird mask appeared in the kitchen in a puff of smoke. Naruto recognized them as one of the Hokage's guards, but figured it was just a message for Shikaku-san, so she ignored him. Sparrow. Shikaku said. Nara-sama, Uzumaki-san, Hokage-sama wishes to speak with you both immediately. The Anbu said, then shushined away. Naruto got up from the table and ran to get her shoes on. Naruto, come here, I'll shushin us straight to the Hokage's office. Shikaku called for the kitchen. Naruto ran back in and took his hand and they disappeared in a puff of smoke and instantly appeared in the Hokage's office. Naruto, sit down. I'm afraid I have some bad news, the Hokage said upon their arrival. Late last night the Uchiha clan was massacred. There was only one survivor, Uchiha Sasuke. He is currently in a stress-induced coma and we don't know how soon he will wake up. No, she said in denial, that's not possible. Naruto started to shake. Who would do something like that? Naruto looked at the Hokage pleading for answers. That happens to be the worst part of this horrible ordeal, the Hokage said solemnly. It appears the culprit is Uchiha Itachi. That's a lie, Naruto shouted. Itachi would never hurt a fly, let alone murder his whole clan without a reason. It would appear he cracked from all the pressure he was under, the Hokage said. As heir to the most powerful clan in the village, his clan expected a lot of him, plus all of his duties as an Anbu captain. It seems it was just too much for him to take. I still don't believe you, Itachi would never snap like that. Naruto said as she stood up. I don't care how long it take, I'll figure out what's really going on here because something just isn't right, I can feel it. I'll leave now so you two can do whatever planning it is you called Shikaku-san here for. Besides, someone should be there when Sasuke wakes up, but can I ask one favor, Ji-chan? Naruto asked. What would that be, Naru? Hiruzen asked. Don't give the Anbu the kill on sight order. Naruto said, I don't want to prove Itachi is innocent only for him to be dead when I do so. The Hokage nodded and Naruto closed the door. She's going to be a scary kunoichi when she grows up. Shikaku said. I agree. The Hokage stated, I originally assigned the Anbu to watch over her so she didn't have to face the harshness of her burden, but it would seem it matured her beyond her years. It's true, but she still has the innocence of a regular child, Shikaku said. I have also seen many qualities that would make her a good candidate for Hokage one day. I know. The Hokage acknowledged, she is practically the will of fire, personified. Not to mention her instincts are generally right on the mark, just like with the Uchiha incident. So there is more to it than you told Naru? Shikaku asked. And for the next 2 weeks Naruto sat in the hospital waiting for Sasuke to come out of his comatose state. At the moment Naruto was remembering a conversation with Hokage Ji-chan from a couple days ago. Flashback. Naruto was sitting in front of the Hokage's desk waiting for him to speak. She waiting for the decision regarding her Anbu guard. Naru, you are no longer going to have a guard. The Hokage said, I have decided you no longer need a full-time guard. Why? You have been able to take care of yourself for a while now. Hiruzen explained, I have been thinking about this for a while now, but in light of recent events, well, let's just say it was the final push. What's that mean? Naruto asked angrily. It almost sounds as if you think that was my fault. She had been really touchy about the Uchiha massacre, but who could blame her after what she found out? Flashback. In a flashback, after leaving the Hokage tower, she had spent the day sitting by Sasuke's bedside until visiting hours were over. Now she was home. She had just flopped down on her bed when she heard a crinkling sound under her head. Well, my pillow isn't supposed to make that sound, she thought as she sat up and reached into her pillowcase. Inside she found a piece of paper. What the, Naru, by now you have probably heard about what I'm about to do. I wish I didn't have to do this, but no matter how many lives I'm about to take, just know that it is to save the village and protect my two precious people. You'll be in too much danger if I don't stop the clan. They plan to try and use a power you keep sealed away. I hope you will watch over Sasuke for me and help him become stronger. I promise I will see you both again. Nothing could ever keep me from my little brother and sister. Also know that whatever I do from now on will be to protect the two of you in Konoha. I promise to explain everything better when we meet again. Itachi. After reading the note she cried in relief at Itachi knowing what he was doing. After regaining her composure she realized that now she had more questions. All of which she knew she couldn't ask as she knew it would suspicious and cause questions to be asked of her. Well, this sucks, she muttered in defeat as she flopped back down on her bed and went to sleep. End flashback. In a flashback, Naru, how could anyone believe you had anything to do with that? it had nothing to do with you. Hiruzen said, though she did see anger that was not directed at her flash in his eyes. But someone does blame me, don't they? She asked upset. They are using their own ignorant opinions to find a reason for this tragedy. Hiruzen explained gently, when a tragedy like this occurs, people try to find explanations, where there aren't any, and end up jumping to the wrong conclusions. What does that have to do with taking Panther and Cat away from me? She asked. Both are exceptional Anbu who are part of 12 selected to work as part of my personal guard. Hiruzen said, I already knew that, but that never mattered before. Naruto said, out of the about 80 Anbu there are 12 of the most elite that are chosen to be exclusively the Hokage's guards. There are at least 2 on duty at all times and they change shifts at 4 to 6 hour intervals. But there has only been 9 doing Hokage duty for the last 10 years because 3 of them were my guards. Why is it changing? It was a decision made by the elders to reduce my guard's workload. Hiruzen said, however it would seem you are more informed about the Anbu than I was informed. I'm good with secrets. Naruto said, I also like to observe all my surroundings. Would you mind telling me everything you know about the Anbu? Hiruzen asked with a smile. Depends on if you want anyone who is willing to listen to hear me. Naruto said and waited for the Hokage to activate the privacy seals around the room. Okay, first off, I know most of the Anbu have bird masks and can be differentiated by the color, marking, or style. Each clan has at least 1 branch member and 1 head family member as members of the Anbu, even if that particular clan doesn't differentiate between main and branch. However, only the members from the head family have different animal masks that are passed down through the generations. Do you know why? Hiruzen asked. I'm guessing it was the first Hokage's way of showing the clans his appreciation for giving Konoha their allegiance. Naruto said, but I also know it's not just clans that have animal masks, it's also people like Panther and Cat who have proven themselves to be exceptional. I would take it that means you know who has what animal mask. Hiruzen asked. Some are in a more general sense, but yes. Naruto said, I only know the identity of a few. Care to share? Hiruzen asked. Why not? Naruto said with a shrug, Boar is Yamanaka Inoichi, Bear is Morino Ibiki, Snake is Mitarashi Anko, Stag is Nara Shikaku, Panther is Yugaone, Cat is Tenzo Ni, and Monkey was your son Hiro before he died 2 years ago. The Hyugas are Owl, the Inuzukas are Inu, I think it's Kiba's aunt at the moment but I'm not sure, the Akamikes are Butterfly, the Ibarames are Beetle, and last but not least the Uchihas were Weasel. That's quite a lot of knowledge for a pre-Jenin. Hiruzen said. I was raised but elite Anbu, Naruto said, it would be more amazing if I missed all of that, plus Nei-chan keeps saying I'm some sort of prodigy. Speaking of Nei-chan, if she's not allowed to be my guard anymore, does that mean she won't be training me anymore? That is something you'll have to talk to her about, Hiruzen said. What shinobi do off duty is their own business. Okay, Naruto said, then asked in a dejected tone, when did they go back to regular duties? You have 3 days, their last official day as your guards is your birthday. He saw how she looked about to cry, so he changed the subject a little. I do have some good news. Asuma is finally allowed to interact with people outside the family, and he is going to bring Konohamaru to your birthday party. So if I counted correctly, he owes you 5 years worth of birthday presents. Now that cheered Naruto up for a while. End flashback. Suddenly there was a movement from the hospital bed and her head snapped up, her blue eyes connected with black eyes, that were full of pain and confusion, but she just couldn't look away. She had already made her decision, all she had to do was see how Sasuke acted. Naru? Sasuke asked, looking confused. I'm glad you're finally awake, you've been in a comatose state for 2 weeks, Naruto said. I've been here every day because I thought someone should be here when you woke up. Why you and not mother? Sasuke asked. Sasuke, that wasn't just a nightmare, Naruto said gently. They have come to the conclusion that Ida was overworked and just snapped from the stress. Don't call him that. He was my brother, not yours. Sasuke snarled. It was probably because he was helping an idiot like you that he went crazy. I hate you both. Because of him I don't have anything anymore. Then he did something an Uchiha had never done before. He broke down and cried. I will pay him back for making me be all alone. I'm gonna go, Sasuke. I'll even send in the doctor for you. Naruto said. Just before leaving she turned around and added, you're probably right that I caused him stress, but unless you get strong enough to beat me, you'll never be able to touch Itachi. Make sure you take care of your health as well. Goodbye, Sasuke. With that Naruto left him alone in his hospital room. And it was 4 days after Naruto's 10th birthday, and she was getting ready for school. Right now she was searching for her new katana. It had an orange and red hilt and a 24-inch blade that had a slight curve to it. It was a present from Yune, who said today she was ready to train with more than just a practice sword, and she was rather excited because today was the first day she would get to train with it. Just as she found her katana, which was behind her bedroom door, there was a scratching sound at her front door. However, when she opened it, no one was there, but she did find an unmarked cardboard box, so she brought it inside her apartment. Soon she noticed it had a locking seal on it that Wolf had taught her. It was a simple, but ingenious seal that the fourth had created. It was a simple 5-pointed star, and in order to unseal it you just had to channel a small amount your chakra into the points. It was so simple that if someone noticed the star was the seal they would overthink it, but most people would just ignore it thinking it was a doodle. It was her favorite seal to use in pranks. Anyway, she unlocked the cardboard box to see what was in it. The first thing she found was a note. Naru-chan, I made it back safely, just like I promised. In the box you'll find your birthday presents for the two I missed and something I want you to hold onto until you can find me. Wolf. So she looked in the box again. She found a silver plushy wolf, a keychain of a pug in a blue vest and matching leaf headband, and last but not least a porcelain snarling wolf mask. Happier that she had been since that event, she put the mask in her ninja pouch on her hip. It was sitting next to a weasel mask which mysteriously appeared on her pillow on her birthday. She then stored her katana on her pouch, seeing as she wasn't supposed to have it in school. She was so glad she had placed an expansion seal on the inside of her pouches. It made it so much easier to keep her most precious items safe. Once she was ready, she headed to school in the hopes of arriving early. They were getting a new teacher and she was hoping to make a good impression because maybe, just maybe, her teacher would care about her and she could add more precious people to her life. Chapter 6. Becoming a Jenin. Once you catch Naruto, bring her here immediately. The Hokage said with a sigh from behind his desk. The two Anbu squads took off as their captains stayed behind to speak to the Hokage. We apologize, Hokage-sama, both said with a bow. You're not to blame, Panther, Cat. The Hokage said as he waved his hand in dismissal. The two Anbu took off in pursuit of Konoha's little orange headache. And if anyone had looked up from the streets of Konohagakure, they would have seen a blindingly bright orange blur racing over rooftops followed by darker blurs. The bright orange blur was none other than a 4'7" tall, 12-year-old pre-Jenin, with spiky blonde hair, blue eyes, and 3 whisker-like scars on his cheeks, named Naruto Uzumaki. He looked over his shoulder and only saw 6 Anbu following him. Shit, where are the other 2? He thought as he shouted over his shoulder, you losers will never catch the great Uzumaki Naruto-sama, future Hokage. As he tried to sense the chakra signature of the other 2 Anbu that he knew were following him, he was so focused on them that he missed the signature right in front of and ran into said person. Uzumaki Naruto, a stern voice growled down at the boy now sitting on the roof where he had fallen. Iruka-sensei, he said nervously, looking up, giving the man a bright smile. Don't, Iruka-sensei, me, the Chunin shouted. Just then 2 Anbu, leaking small amount of ki, appeared behind Naruto. Hokage-sama requested that Uzumaki-san be brought to him as soon as possible. The cat-masked Anbu said. He has a review for the graduation exam tomorrow that he is late for. I believe it would be bad for him to miss it. Iruka said, if you would like I can escort him to the Hokage as soon as he's done. That will be fine, replied the panther-masked Anbu replied, and Naruto relaxed, thinking, I'm not going to die just yet, we will inform Hokage-sama. However, Yumino-san, Azuki-san has requested to speak to Uzumaki-san for a moment. It will not take long. Kat said. It really shouldn't take but 10 minutes and Azuki-san will deliver him back to the class herself. Panther said. Iruka was used to this happening whenever Naruto pulled a prank. Very well, Iruka said, now I have a class to attend to. No, Iruka-sensei, don't let them take me. Naruto shouted, you're signing my life over to Shinigami-sama. Panther placed her hand on Naruto's shoulder and shushined away, leaving Iruka to mutter, overdramatic brat. In a clearing not far from the academy the trio appeared. Tenzo, please inform Hokage-sama Naruto will be in his office after class, Panther said as she removed her mask. And let him know I'm speaking with her. Hi, Kat said, good luck on your quiz, Naru. Kat then shushined away. Why would you deface Hokage Mountain? Yugao asked. I thought you respected the Hokage and even wanted to be one someday. I expect an explanation, young lady. It's because Ji-chan is a stupid, lying asshole. Naruto said, crossing her arms. Language, and don't disrespect Hokage-sama like that, even if you are mad at him. Yugao said, tripling her ki output. But Nei-chan, he said he wants me to fail the exam tomorrow. Naruto said, on the verge of tears, what kind of person tells you you're going to be great from the time you're 3 only to take it all away? Not even a Nei is that cruel and sadistic. You should know Hokage-sama would never do that to you. Yugao said as she rubbed her temples, if you had controlled your emotions and waited for him to finish what he was saying, instead of just running away, you would have known it was part of a plan he needs you for. You mean I can still become a ninja? Naruto asked hopefully. Wait, then why does he want me to fail my test? I'm not allowed to tell you, and you have to get back to class for now. Yugao said, after school you are going to clean Hokage Mountain, it will be done by dinner time, then after you eat you are to go straight to Hokage-sama and you will listen to everything he has to say. Am I understood? Yes, Yune-sama. Naruto said, and then the two headed back to the academy. And at 7 p.m. that night Naruto sat in the Hokage's office being told all the things she was too stubborn, emotional to listen to the previous night. So as I tried to tell you last night, I would like for you to fail your Jenin exam tomorrow. Hiruzen said. Why? Naruto interrupted as she held back tears. I want to be a ninja, but if I fail I can't be. I need you for a mission. Hiruzen said, so if you accept you will officially be a ninja. So what do you say? What's the catch? Naruto asked, because even if you make me a ninja I'll still only be a Jenin, so I won't be able to do much. To say Naruto was confused was an understatement. You're right, you will be a Jenin, at least until you take the Chunin exam. However, Yugao tells me you are easily at low Chunin level if not higher. Hiruzen said, now the mission I have for you is technically an A rank, so I will have 2 Anbu hidden in the shadows as your backup. If you're going to have Anbu hidden, why would you use someone fresh out of the academy? Naruto asked, also, why is it a ranked? It has come to my attention that one of the academy teachers has been acting suspicious. He has been seen snooping around the tower and following some of the academy students. He has also been known to vanish from the village from time to time. Hiruzen said, the teacher is question is Mazuki, and as best as we can tell it appears he plans to use one of the failing Jenin for whatever he is planning. I'll do it. I hate traitors, but how do you know he'll pick me? Naruto asked. Out of the 60 children in the graduating class, 20 want to be civilians, however only 30 of the 40 left will become Jenin, which means that even if only 29 make the Jenin requirements, there is me and 10 other students to choose from. That's true, but your academy persona is perfect for this mission. Hiruzen said, Mazuki will be looking for someone who is easy to manipulate. To put it frankly, Naruto the boy is not all that smart and extremely gullible, seeing as he trusts anyone who shows him just a little attention and goodwill, meaning Mazuki will see him as an easier target than the other Jenin hopefuls, especially when he will be upset about losing his chance to follow his dream to become Hokage. Okay, I understand that. Now I'm not complaining, but won't it be easier for one of the Anbu or an elite Junin to swap places with one of the students? Naruto asked. Yes, but if we did that we would be denying one of the students the chance to prove themselves. Hiruzen said, normally, I would do that seeing as it's for the good of the village, but I'm confident with your skills, so I feel giving all the students a chance to prove themselves is fine. Alright, Naruto said, so what is it you need me to do exactly? And the next day Naruto took the Jenin exam with the rest of his classmates that wanted to become shinobi of Konoha. The first part was a 30-question written exam with an essay question at the end. The only part Naruto did was the essay about what the will of fire was and what it meant to him. The second part was with weapons. In order to pass, you had to hit at least 7 out of 10 targets with kunai and shuriken. He hit 8 targets, then each student had to choose one other weapon to do a demonstration with. He chose a katana and just waved it around, wildly, and ended up, accidentally, nicking Mizuki-sensei with the blade. The third and most important part of the exam was the academy jutsus. When it came to Naruto, he used too much chakra and only produced a deformed clone that looked kind of bloated, and when he poked it to see what was wrong with it, the thing exploded. Fail, Iruka said sadly, and Naruto tilted his head down, causing his bangs to shadow his face. Iruka-sensei, why don't we let him pass? Mazuki asked. It's obvious he tried exceptionally hard. Really? Naruto asked as his raised his head, hope shining in his eyes. No, if he can't do the academy jutsus correctly there is no way I can pass him. Iruka said, being a ninja is dangerous. I'm sorry, Naruto. You can leave. Naruto nodded dejectedly and left. After school Naruto was sitting on the swing outside the academy. He listened to all the comments from the villagers. He just sat on the swing looking dejected and like he was about to cry, which in truth he was, from sheer boredom. I swear if Mazuki Tem doesn't make his move soon, I swear I will make him regret the fact he ruined my day. Naruto growled mentally to herself. Seeing as he was getting angry, he turned so his back was facing everyone so that they thought he was sulking instead of seeing his angry expression. After 5 more minutes, Naruto felt Mazuki heading toward him. He rubbed his eyes so they were red and puffy, and he also released a few tears. Naruto. Mazuki asked softly, are you doing alright? You know Iruka's only so hard on you because he cares. I know, Naruto whispered while sniffling, it's just I really wanted to be a ninja and have everyone acknowledge me. I understand, Mazuki said as he placed a comforting hand on Naruto's shoulder. Naruto noticed how Mazuki flinched in disgust at the touch, but pretended not to notice. I'll let you in on a little secret, there were only 29 students who passed the Jenin exam, so how about I give you a special exam that will let you pass so that there are enough graduates? Really? Naruto asked excitedly. Of course, Naruto, Mazuki said, I want to see you succeed in your dreams. And 2 hours later, Naruto was walking through the Hokage tower to the Hokage's office. Upon reaching the office, he sensed several Junin level and higher chakra signatures but decided to enter the room anyway. Ji-chan, he yelled as the door banged open, oh. Naruto looked at all the ninja in the room, is this supposed to be a secret meeting? Naruto, what have I told you about knocking? Hiruzen asked with a sigh. Not getting an answer, he just continued on, no, I'm just assigning Jenin teams. Okay, I'll stay then. Naruto said as he looked around the room again. The Junin had a variety of looks ranging from disgust to curiosity, except one, maybe two. One Junin who bore a resemblance to the Hokage and had a cigarette in his mouth was visibly laughing, the other had 3/4 of his face covered so Naruto couldn't really read him. However, next thing anyone knew, Naruto had launched himself at the laughing Junin. Asuni, I haven't seen you in forever. Naruto exclaimed happily. Nice to see you too, Naru-chan. Asuma said. Don't call me that. Naruto said, unconsciously leaking a small amount of ki, but the Hokage snapped him out of it before any of the Junin noticed the source. Naruto. Hiruzen said firmly to get Naruto's attention, but then continued in his regular gentle tone, I don't mind if you stay until the meeting is over, but no more interruptions. This is still very important. Hi, Naruto said, and then turned to Asuma, I want to sit on your lap. The Junin in the room looked shocked when Asuma sat on the floor and Naruto curled up in his lap. Good, now all that's really left is assigning you your Jenin. I have already sorted them out into teams I believe will work well together, and complement each other skill-wise. Hiruzen said, noticing how most of the Junin keep giving Asuma odd sideway glance, so let's begin. When I say you name, you will collect you new pupils folders. Team 1, Team 7 is assigned to Hitaki Kakashi, Team 8 is assigned to Yuhi Kurenai, Team 9 is assigned to Kanden Tekuno, A.N., not important, just a filler, and lastly Team 10 is assigned to Sarutobi Asuma. Naru, get those for me, would you? Naru got the files for Asuma as he was asked, then snuggled back into his lap. The Junin went through their files and Naruto glanced at the ones Asuma held. Any questions? Hiruzen asked. No, Hokage-sama. The Junin replied. Very well, you're all dismissed, Hiruzen said, except Kakashi. The Junin filed out of the room. Hi, Hokage-sama, the Junin with 3/4 of his face covered asked as soon as the door was closed. The only ones left in the room were the Hokage, Kakashi, Naruto, and Asuma, because Naruto refused to get off his lap. So, Naruto, how was your day? Hiruzen asked, ignoring Kakashi for the time being. The only way you're going to be able to make it up to me is with a month's worth of ramen, and I mean my month's worth, not a regular person's. Naruto warned, as for my exam, I failed it with flying colors. You should have seen my clone, it looked so pathetic, but it did blow up spectacularly. Naruto said, smiling happily. Naru, why are you so happy? Asuma asked, confused. I thought you wanted to be a shinobi. Stupid Ji-chan made me fail, Naruto said with a pout, but I still get to become a ninja. Hokage-sama, why am I still here? Kakashi asked in a bored tone. Right as you saw, Naruto is one of the Jenin assigned to your team, Hiruzen said, however, seeing as I have already given a mission, she is a full-fledged ninja and will not be returning to the academy even if Team 7 as a whole should fail you test. Therefore, pass or fail, she will still be your student, at least until she becomes a Chunin, understood? Hi, Kakashi said, still sounding bored. Why couldn't I be assigned to someone I know? Naruto asked. How do I know I can trust him? Naruto eyed the masked man suspiciously. I can't even see his face. It was quiet for a moment before Asuma decided to speak up. What if we told you Wolf knows and trusts him? You know my wolf? Naruto asked. Yes, was Kakashi's reply. Fine, I'll trust you as much as I would any other comrade, Naruto said, however that does not mean I trust you completely. I have learned to be weary of people, and until you become one of my most precious people like Ji-chan and Asuni, I will be cautious of you. Naruto warned. I understand. Kakashi said nonchalantly. Was that all you needed me for? Yes, you may leave or you may stay and observe, you pupil. Hiruzen said. Naruto, don't be too stubborn and give him a chance. Naruto nodded. I believe I'll stay and observe Naruto's skills. Kakashi said nonchalantly, as he leaned against the wall of the office. Good. Naruto progress report. Hiruzen said, going into Commander mode, as Naruto liked to call it. It was when the Hokage went from a carefree, happy person to a serious, stoic leader. As you heard, I failed my exam as ordered, Naruto said, sitting up straight and becoming serious before going into detail. I didn't answer any of the written exam, except the essay part, as I thought it was too important not to answer. I did fair on weapons and, accidentally, nicked the target with a katana. Nothing serious, it was just a scratch on his right forearm just below the bend of his elbow. Of course you already heard about the ninjutsu part. Afterwards I sat outside the academy on the swing looking depressed and dejected about my failure. After an hour the target approached me. I checked his chakra and checked for his injury, to make sure it was really him and not an enemy ninja that had infiltrated the village. Unfortunately I confirmed it was in fact Mazuki-sensei. By the way, you gave him far too much credit, Ji-chan, because he is an idiot, Naruto said, becoming a little less serious. I mean, even my academy persona would have been suspicious of him. I'm glad he really thinks so lowly of me, or your plan would have never worked. What do you mean? Hiruzen asked. Well, basically he approached me and offered me a supplementary exam. Of course I asked what I had to do. He told me I had to sneak into your private library and borrow the forbidden scroll of sealing, without anyone knowing. I'm then supposed to go to Building 24 inside Training Ground 44 to learn one jutsu off the scroll, and he will meet me there at 8 p.m. to test me on what I learned. Naruto said. I mean, seriously, anything with a brain knows that forbidden means no touchy. How could someone as stupid as him make Chunin in the first place? You're right, he is dumber than we thought. Hiruzen said. Do you have a plan? You have about 2.5 hours before you have to meet up with him. Well, Naruto said with a devious smirk, I was kind of wondering if there were any jutsus on there I could learn safely. There are two. Hiruzen said. They are the first ones you'll see. They are called Kage Bunshin no Jutsu and Kage Shuriken Kunai no Jutsu. They are only on the scroll because of the amount of chakra they use, but you have large chakra stores, so I'm not too worried. Just use them carefully and be careful. One of the jutsu's side effects can be mental fatigue. Okay, I'll just write down the others I find interesting. Naruto said. Now for my plan to work, it has to look realistic, so I need it to look like Ji-chan caught me taking the scroll. Naruto got a mischievous glint in his eye. Ji-chan, can you come with me to your private library? Naruto asked. The Hokage nodded and followed Naruto into his private library. Kakashi and Asuma stayed in the office, and after a couple minutes the two men heard Naruto shout something that was muffled by the closed door, and then heard a loud thud as something heavy hit the floor. Naruto came out of the room shortly after carrying a huge scroll and tossed a bag of something to Asuma, who opened the bag. Naru-chan, why do you have blood replenishing pills? Asuma asked. Only Wolf can call me that, Naruto gritted out through her teeth. As for why I have them, it's so I don't pass out for blood loss when I train with Yatenni. Yatenni? Asuma asked. Gekko Hayate. He is Uni's boyfriend and he trains me in Kenjutsu. I've come to believe that his motto is, in order to master Kenjutsu you must bleed a lot. But enough about that. Naruto said. I gave you them because Ji-chan will need some when he wakes up. Oh, he'll also need some new robes because he got blood all over the ones he's wearing. What did you do to Hokage-sama? Kakashi asked, alarmed. I used my pervert finding jutsu. He bleed all on his own. If you want details, ask him when he wakes up. Naruto said as he headed for the door. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. If anyone asks you came to see Ji-chan about something, I don't care what, you're both Junin, so I'm sure you can think of something believable. You saw me with the scroll, but figure if it was anything important the Anbu would deal with it like always. Then when you came looking for Ji-chan you found him passed out. You really have this all planned out? Kakashi asked curiously. Only because I'm dealing with a traitor to my beloved village. Generally, I'd just go with a basic outline and make lots of on-the-fly decisions. It's how I work best. You may want to remember that, sensei, Naruto said, just to fill you in on the plan. It's almost 4 p.m. now and it will take Ji-chan 25 to 30 minutes to wake up, giving me 15 minutes to get where I need to go so I have time to practice, and once he's awake it will take 15 to 20 to inform and gather all off-duty Chunin and Junin for a search to find me and the scroll. At that time Mazuki Tem will realize he has to come to me sooner than he wanted to because there are at least 2 sensory ninja that are off-duty tonight. So Mazuki will show up at our meeting place by 6:15 p.m. It should take about 15 minutes to catch him because I have to let him give his incriminating speech, then I get to report and go home to sleep so I can get to the academy on time tomorrow for team assignments. Do you have any backup on your mission? Asuma asked, concerned. Yes, you may be an official ninja but you still don't have any experience in the field. Kakashi said. I'm being backed up by 2 of the Anbu who raised me. Naruto said, as for experience, I was raised by Anbu until I was 10. I'm not exactly your regular naive genin. Well, good luck, Naru. Asuma said, we'll try and keep as many shinobi away from your position as possible. Thanks. Naruto said with a smile, well, gotta go, Datbeo, N. It was 6:10 when Naruto finished writing everything interesting from the scroll and felt a chakra signature approaching him. He soon realized that it wasn't Mazuki as was Iruka and that Mazuki was still about 5 minutes away. Kuso. Naruto thought as he resealed the scroll, of all the people to get dragged into this he just had to be the one to find me. As Iruka entered the clearing Naruto turned to face him. Naruto. Do-yo, Iruka started by was cut off by Naruto. Iruka-sensei, I found you. Naruto shouted like an idiot, so are you going to let me pass like promised? Pass. What are you talking about? Iruka asked confused. Mazuki-sensei told me that if I learned one jutsu off this scroll that you would let me become a genin. He even told me to come here to practice. Naruto said and he saw understanding dawn on Iruka's face followed by hurt, devastation, and anger. Just then Mazuki arrived. Oh, it looks like you found the demon brat first. That's too bad, Iruka, because I was really hoping for no witnesses. Mazuki said mockingly, now hand the scroll to me, demon. Naruto, ignore him. He's a traitor. Iruka said, if you give me that scroll I'll tell you Konoha's biggest secret that everyone has kept from you, even your precious, Iruka-sensei. A secret only I don't know. Naruto asked sadly. No, Mazuki don't. Iruka shouted desperately. Mazuki just sneered at him then turned to Naruto. You're the 9-tailed demon fox that attacked the village 12 years ago. Mazuki said he saw Naruto freeze up and threw a barrage of kunai and shuriken. Naruto would have been severely injured if Iruka had not used himself as a shield to keep Naruto safe. Why'd you do something so stupid, Iruka-sensei? Naruto asked in tears. Because once I looked past my hatred of the demon you house I saw Uzumaki Naruto, a lonely little boy who just wanted someone to acknowledge him. Iruka said, you reminded me of myself after the death of my parents and I promised myself I would protect you from that loneliness. Oh, how touching. Mazuki cooed as Iruka turned to face him, if you insist on protecting the demon I guess I'll just have to kill you first. Mazuki pulled out a Fuma shuriken when he was suddenly thrown back several feet by something hard connecting with his face. He looked up bewildered to see Naruto stand between him and a confused Iruka. If you even try to so much a look at Iruka-sensei funny I'll kick your ass. Naruto growled. Go ahead and try it, you're so pathetic you couldn't even pass the genin exam. Mazuki taunted. You asked for it. Naruto said with a smirk, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 100 Narutos poofed into existence, attack the TEME. The original shouted, within second Mazuki was an unconscious, bloody heap on the ground. I think I went a little overboard, but he totally deserved it. Naruto said as he turned to face Iruka just as the latter passed out from the pain and blood loss. Shit. Iruka-sensei. Just then Panther and Cat jumped out of the trees and into the clearing. Cat used a jutsu and put Mazuki into a wooden cage to be transported to the T&I department. You should have summoned us as soon as Yumino-san showed up. Panther said. I still had everything under control until Mazuki Tem decided I would make a lovely pincushion because I'm the holder of the demon fox and Iruka-sensei jumped in the way, then I got angry. I'm sorry. Naruto said as she started pulling the projectiles out of Iruka's unconscious body. Can you give him first aid treatment? Fine, and you did a good job for someone with your limited experience, you'll do better next time with some training, Panther said as she started doing first aid. then she glanced at Naruto. How are you doing? I'll be better once Iruka-sensei's healed. Naruto said, as for the fox I already knew, I had figured it out on my own years ago. Panther looked at Naruto, I'll explain later. First you and Kat Nizan should bring the traitor to Ibi Ni and Nichan, I'm sure they'll enjoy the company. Iruka-sensei and I will go to Ji-chan's office once he wakes up and can I have a few blood replenishing pill I left mine with a Su-ni for Ji-chan. Why did Hokage-sama need them? Panther asked alarmed after handing over a couple pills. I used my sexy jutsu on him to make it look like I stole the scroll, anyway Ji-chan got a massive nosebleed and passed out. I didn't know Ji-chan was such a previous. Naruto said. Panther just sighed as Kat chuckled. Soon after the two took off to transport their prisoner. A couple minutes after they left and Iruka woke up, Naruto told him how Anbu had shown up, healed him and took Mazuki away. The two then headed to the Hokage's office where Iruka gave a report and Naruto just nodded in all the right places. Very well, Iruka, you may leave. Hiruzen said, I need to speak to Naruto alone about what Mazuki said to her. Understood, Hokage-sama, Iruka said as he gave Naruto's shoulder a reassuring squeeze. I'll see you tomorrow for team assignments, Naruto. Good night, Iruka-sensei. Naruto said with a bright smile. Once the door was closed she turned back to the Hokage. So what do you want to know, Ji-chan? Panther reported that you already know about the fox, care to tell me how? Hiruzen asked gently. It was a couple days after the Uchiha massacre, I couldn't sleep but I was really tired so I decided to meditate to relax. Naruto explained, one moment I was in my room meditating then next thing I knew I was in a what looked like a sewer, I thought I had fallen asleep and was dreaming and decided to look around after a while I realized it wasn't a dream and that I must have entered my subconscious. Anyway, as I was looking around I noticed a lot of the rooms had doors but at the end of the corridor there was a huge chamber that had bars across it, and when I looked through the bars I saw a humongous fox with several tails curled around it. The fox was sleeping so I just focused my thoughts on leaving. It took a couple days for me to figure out what the fox was. Why didn't you come to me or Yugao when you discovered the fox? Hiruzen asked, you had to have had lots of questions. Oh, I did have plenty of questions at first and I was going to ask about the fox. Naruto said, but then I remembered how many years it took for me to pry information about my parent out of you and figured you would tell me about the fox when you were really. Do you have any questions still? Hiruzen asked. Only one, why did the fourth choose me? Naruto asked. I can't give you a complete answer, Hiruzen said, but it was because it's best to seal the demon away in a child with undeveloped chakra coils because it's safest for the child and at the time you were the youngest child he could get his hands on seeing as you had been born just before the Kyuubi attack. Oh okay, Naruto said, she was kind of hoping there was deeper reason than that but at least now she knew. So why did you freeze up when Mazuki told you about the fox? Hiruzen asked. Well, that was for a couple reasons, Naruto said, the main one being that I had to intentionally freeze to get Mazuki to attack, I was then going to avoid his attack and strike back. However, I ended up really freezing when Kyuubi woke up for a second mumbling about, stupid mortals, it shocked me so much because it had always been asleep. Is it asleep now? Hiruzen asked. Yes, it fell back asleep after the incident today. Naruto said, can I go now? I'm kind of tired and have to be up early tomorrow. Yes, one more question. Has Yugao ever told you how to write a mission report? Hiruzen asked. Yes, I have been practicing since I was 6. Wolf started it, I had to treat all my training sessions as missions and write down everything to the smallest detail. Naruto said, why do you ask? Well, seeing as this was technically your mission, it is your responsibility to write a report. Hiruzen said, I want your report in 2 days, okay. I can do that, Naruto said as she headed out the door. Chapter 7, Team 7 and Kunoichi Lessons. It was the next morning and Naruto was walking through the hallway heading toward the classroom. All Jenin had to be there by 11 a.m. so they could be assigned their teams. Naruto had about 5 minutes to go before he was late, but once he got to the door he realized that Sakura and Ino were having another race for Sasuke-kun's heart, which resulted in the two girls being wedged into the doorway. Exasperated and in the mood for a good prank, Naruto smirked as he lifted his foot and swiftly kicked Ino in the ass, seeing he already knew she wouldn't be on his team therefore he could get away from her, causing both girls to go sprawling on the floor inside the door. Naruto glanced around the room and noticed Shikamaru wasn't there yet, so he just sat in the first seat he could find. Move it, Naruto, I want to sit next to Sasuke-kun. One of the girls said. Naruto didn't even bother to know who, but he looked around looking for a new seat and noticed Shikamaru walk through the door and got up to move. Suddenly, as he was getting up, Ino and Sakura decided it would be a good time to have a shoving match, and one of them bumped into Naruto, causing him to fall backwards. In a vain attempt to catch himself, he spun around, however, what he caught himself on was Sasuke's lips. What? Naruto baka. How dare you kiss Sasuke-kun? Poor Sasuke-kun. I wanted Sasuke-kun's first kiss. Sasuke and Naruto turned away from each other, retching and gagging. Can't you watch what you're doing, Yujiro Tonkachi? Sasuke asked. Like I wanted to lock lips with you, Utem. Naruto shouted as he ran to sit next to Shikamaru. Shika, help, I got emo germs. I need to be disinfected. Naruto whined as he clung to Shikamaru. However, what happened next shocked everyone. TCH, troublesome blonde. Shikamaru grumbled as he leaned over and pecked Naruto on the lips. They're disinfected. Poor Hinata, who had fallen out of her chair in shock at the accidental kiss between Naruto and Sasuke, had just sat back in her seat only to witness the second kiss and got an emotional overload and fainted, falling to the ground again. Okay, everyone, be quiet and take a seat. Haruka said as he entered the room. Even though the room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop, it's time to be assigned your Jenin team. Kiba, help Hinata up off the floor. Team 1, and so the kissing incident was forgotten for now. Team 7 is Uzumaki Naruto, Haruno Sakura, and Uchiha Sasuke under Hatake Kakashi. Team 8 is Inuzuka Kiba, Hyuga Hinata, and Aburame Shino under Yuhi Kurenai. Team 9 is Koji, Futaba, and Renosuke under Kanden Tekuno. They don't matter, I just wanted to be different. And finally, Team 10 is Nara Shikamaru, Akamichi Choji, and Yamanaka Ino under Sarutobi Asuma. Haruka announced, now, you all have 1 hour for a lunch break. I recommend that you use this time to get to know you teammates. Instead of team bonding, that Naruto knew would be a waste of time as Sasuke hated him and Sakura had eyes only for her, Sasuke-kun, so he went to get ramen for lunch. After a few bowls he went back to the academy, and seeing as he still had some time to kill, so he sat in the empty classroom and started to write his mission report. Suddenly the door to the room opened. Naruto, why aren't you with your teammates? Haruka asked. Ji-chan wants me to write a mission report about yesterday. Naruto said. Why? Haruka asked curiously. You were just an innocent bystander. Can you keep a secret? Naruto asked seriously. Of course, Naruto, you know you can tell me anything. Haruka said equally as serious. Ji-chan had already known that Mazuki was a traitor, Naruto said. He had been acting suspicious for weeks, and he also knew that Mazuki planned to use one of the failed genin for his plans. So Ji-chan made me a ninja 2 days ago and gave me the mission to catch Mazuki-sensei. Naruto, this isn't even remotely funny. Haruka warned. I know I'm not joking, Naruto said solemnly. Ji-chan knew that I was more skilled than the rest of the genin, because I've been trained in secret by some people, so instead of taking the chance of being a ninja away from someone else, he just used me instead. As a matter of fact, there are lots of things you don't know about me. Like the fact I was raised and trained by an Anbu squad, or that I'm actually a girl. Haruka just stared at her, looking for any signs of deception. If you don't believe me, you can ask Ji-chan, because I can't give you the identities of the Anbu. I know you don't lie, so I'll believe you. Haruka said after a moment, but I do have a question. Why is Hokage-sama letting you pretend to be a boy? Long story short, Naruto said, when I was 6 I had an argument with one of my caretakers and ran out late at night. I was almost attacked by some drunks and decided I felt safer as a boy. Ji-chan said I could disguise myself until I felt safe enough to be me. I understand, and I hope you feel like being you soon. Haruka said with a slight smile. Well, I had better get the paperwork I came to get, and everyone should be returning in about 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, Haruka-sensei, Naruto said with a smile. And the only teams left in the room were Team 10 and Team 7. Choji was eating some chips. Ino and Sakura were vying for Sasuke's attention, which Sasuke was busy ignoring them and everyone else in the room. Shikamaru was pretending to sleep, and Naruto was working on her report. Naru, what is that? Shikamaru asked, looking at her. A mission report for Ji-chan, Naruto replied. He had me catch a traitor. Oh, Mazuki-sensei. Shikamaru asked, causing Naruto to look at him. I noticed he was missing today and that some of the teachers were whispering about his sudden disappearance. Yeah, Naruto said, and Shikamaru put his head back down as Naruto went back to her report. Naruto was so focused on her report she never noticed the person who walked up behind her. Naru, don't furrow your brow like that or you'll have wrinkles to match my father. The voice said. Ah, Asuma sensei, please don't scare random Jenin like that. Naruto said, besides no one could ever have as many wrinkles as Ji-chan. True, and you're not exactly random. Asuma said, and I think I should warn you, your sensei is notorious for being really late for anything but important missions. Oh, great, Naruto muttered as she watched Team 10 leave the room. She then noticed her teammates looking at her weird. What is there, something on my face? You know an elite Junin? Sakura asked. I know quite a few Junin and Chunin for that matter. Naruto replied. How is that possible for a dobi like you? I'm not a dobi. Naruto said. As for how, it would be weird if I didn't know any, with as often as I get in trouble. Oh, HN. Over the next 3 hours Naruto finished his report and decided to watch as Sasuke got more and more annoyed. However, just as the Uchiha looked about to blow, Naruto got up and stuck Iruka's bright orange chalkboard eraser in the top of the door so that it would fall on the next person to walk through the door. That should teach that loser of a sensei for being late. Naruto said, chalk dust is a bitch to clean, hee hee. Once it's wet it'll get gooey and stick to sensei's hair. That's so childish, Naruto baka. Sakura said, letting her attention leave Sasuke for a short time, and then Sasuke's short reprieve ended. Besides, our new sensei is a Junin, he would never fall for something like that, right Sasuke-kun? HN. See, even Sasuke agrees with me. Sakura shrieked. I hate to tell you, but HN is not a response or even a word in any language or dialect. Naruto said. Just then the trio heard someone walking down the hall and Naruto turned back toward the door in anticipation. The door opened and a man with silver hair and most of his face hidden stood there as the orange eraser bounced off his head, covering the Junin as chalk dust, and bounced to the floor, which coincidentally is where Naruto was rolling in laughter. Sensei! Sakura cried, we're so sorry, we tried to stop him but he wouldn't listen. Ma, my first thoughts, Kakashi said, I hate you all, meet me on the roof, you have 5 minutes. Naruto baka, this is all you fault. Sakura said. Naruto just shrugged and headed for the door. Looking around he noticed the eraser was gone. That bastard! Naruto shouted as he ran at top speed out of the room. Shortly after he was on the roof. Give back Iruka-sensei's eraser, you thieving Junin, it was a present. Naruto shouted as he lunged at Kakashi. Ma, I don't want to. The Junin drawled as he held the eraser out of Naruto's reach. Smirking, Naruto stepped back. Give it back or else. Naruto said. What? Kakashi asked. I'll burn your book and make sure you can never get another one ever again. Naruto smirked, and just so you know, my godfather writes them so I can follow through on the threat. Suddenly Naruto heard 2 sets of feet on the stairs leading to the roof. Doing the only thing he could think of, Naruto ran back to the door as he throwing the book haphazardly over his shoulder for Kakashi to catch and collapsed panting by the door. It's your fault for running so fast to get up here. Sakura said as she stared at Naruto on the ground. Naruto pushed himself upright and looked at Kakashi. Give back, Iruka-sensei's eraser, you crappy Junin, Naruto wheezed. Say please, Naruto-chan. Kakashi said as he snapped his book closed, causing Naruto to glare at him. Okay, you 3 get over here and sit down so you can introduce yourselves. The 3 did as told. So who's first? Kakashi asked with an eye smile. Why don't you go first and show us how it's done? Sakura offered. Naruto and Sasuke nodded in agreement. Fine, name's Hitaki Kakashi. My likes, you're not old enough to know. My dislikes, hobbies, things, dreams for the future, don't have one as of present. Okay Blondie, go. All we learned was his name. Sakura mumbled before Naruto introduced himself. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, my likes are ramen and some other things. I dislike the 3-minute wait for cup ramen, my hobbies would shock everyone, and my dream is to be the best Hokage ever so I can protect my precious people and be acknowledged for me. Pinky. Kakashi said. I'm Haruno Sakura, wahoo I like is glance at Sasuke and squeal, my dislikes are Naruto baka and Ino pig, my hobbies are flower arranging, cooking, and reading, my dream for the future is looks at Sasuke and squeals again. Right. Emo kid. Kakashi drawled. Uchiha Sasuke, no particular likes or dislikes, hobby is training, what I have isn't really a dream, it's an ambition, and that is to kill a certain man and restore my clan. Sakura practically swooned at the last part. Naruto rolled his eyes and thought, I told him to get stronger, not go all psycho killer. I guess I have to work on getting the old Sasuke back, seeing as we're now a team. Okay, so now that that's over, here's the announcement. Only about 2/3 of the Jenin who passed the academy exam will get to become regular ninja. Kakashi said, tomorrow you will have to pass my test, so I suggest you go home, eat a big dinner, go to sleep, and get the training ground by 6 a.m. And one more warning, you may throw up if you eat breakfast. You're dismissed. That said, Kakashi disappeared in a puff of smoke. See you guys tomorrow, Naruto said before jumping across rooftops to get away. And 20 minutes after leaving her team, Naruto stormed into the Hokage's office, banging the door open and ignoring the other people in the room. Ji-chan, why was my sensei 3 hours late for team meetings today? She asked. I did warn you he would be late, Naru-chan. Asuma said, chuckling. Don't call me that, Asuni. Naruto snarled as she released some ki. Naruto. The Hokage warned. Sorry, I'm hot-tempered on a good day. Naruto said sheepishly, as if that was a reason. Anyway, I thought you were just kidding. What kind of Junin is that irresponsible? Naruto finally took notice of the third adult in the room. She recognized her as the Junin sensei of Team 8, Yuhi Kurenai. I also have that thing you asked me for last night, Ji-chan. Really? That's good, let me have it. Hiruzen said, and Naruto did as told. Now I think some introductions are in order. Naruto, I would like you to meet Yuhi Kurenai. Kurenai, this is Naruto-chan. Ji-chan. Naruto asked. Naruto, I have arranged for Kurenai to give you some lessons that you missed out on in the academy. Hiruzen said, I have not yet given her all the details, as that is your place to do so. However, I just want you to know you cannot go on any missions outside the village until you have completed most for these private lessons. What are the lessons? Naruto asked. Kunoichi lessons. Hiruzen said, receiving a confused look from Kurenai. Excuse me, Hokage-sama, but why does a boy need kunoichi lessons? Kurenai asked. Naruto, why don't you explain it? Hiruzen said. Why does she have to be the one to teach me? Can't it be someone I know and trust? Panther is leaving on a long-term mission that will have her away until the Chunin exams in 6 months, and Anko will be busy running the T&I department while Ibiki does the biannual personnel review and prepares to be a proctor for the exams. Hiruzen explained. I promise you can trust her, Naru. Both Anko and I can vouch that she's a good, trustworthy person, Asuma said. Besides, how are you ever going to be yourself and follow your dreams if you don't try trusting more people? I know it hard after everything the last couple years, but you really have to try. Fine, Naruto pouted. I hate when you use logic on me. Wait, did you say Panther was doing a long-term mission? Naruto asked the Hokage in affirmative. No, that means Yaten is going to be doing all my kenjutsu training. I'm going to need to restock my blood replenishing pills because he thinks being a kenjutsu master involves bleeding a lot. Naruto cried comically for a couple minutes. Anyway, back on topic. Naruto perking up. By now Kurenai was thoroughly confused. Seeing this, Naruto turned to Kurenai to explain. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, I am 12 years old, and the reason I need kunoichi lessons is because I'm actually a girl, but I have been pretending to be a boy, with Ji-chan's permission, since I was 6, therefore none of the academy teachers knew, or cared really, that I would need kunoichi lessons. Can I ask why you would to this? Kurenai asked. One night just before my 6th birthday, I ran out after an argument with one of my guardians. I ended up in a bad district and was almost bothered by some drunken men. Naruto said. Kurenai paled at the information. Anyway, before anything scarring happened, my guardian saved me, but I felt safer pretending to be a boy. It was agreed that it would only be until I felt strong enough to protect myself. Can I ask who else knows your secret? Kurenai asked. Sure, Naruto said with a smile. My old Anbu caretakers, Ji-chan and Asuni, obviously, seeing as they're here with us, Azuki Yugao, Gekko Hayate, Mitarashi Anko, Morino Ibiki, all the clan's heads, but it kind of like an unspoken rule to not speak about it. Shikamaru, because he's the only clan heir that paid attention when we were younger. The others forgot. Sasuke might remember because we were raised as siblings when we were younger, but ever since the massacre he has been different and ignored me, so I'm not sure. Maybe Shino, because he's smart but he's so quiet and doesn't talk much, so I'm uncertain. Baruka Sensei, and the owner of Ichiraku Ramen and his daughter, plus there's now you. I see. Well, I will keep your secret until you are ready to tell everyone. Kurenai said. Thank you. Naruto said, bowing. So when do we start doing lessons? Well, we have to work around your team training and mine as well. Kurenai said. Well, we don't get our real test until tomorrow. Naruto said. I will talk to Kakashi when he brings me the results tomorrow and inform him you are not allowed to stay after 4 in the evening. Hiruzen said. How does that sound, Kurenai? Prefect, Kurenai replied and turned to Naruto. I will give you a 1-hour break before you have to meet me for your lessons. So you will meet me at training ground 14 at 5 o'clock tomorrow. Got it. Hi, Kurenai-sensei. Naruto said. Maybe you can get her to be a little more girly. Asuma suggested. She's always been a tomboy and that's fine, but a little feminine charm can go a long way. I'm fine the way I am. Naruto said, turn up her nose. He didn't say you weren't, Hiruzen chuckled, but I would love to see you in dresses again one day. Fine. Naruto sighed. It's alright, Naruto. Kurenai said, charm is one of a kunoichi's or even a regular woman's best weapon against men. Kurenai added a playful wink to which Naruto giggled. Okay. Naruto said, maybe you can teach me other girly secrets along with kunoichi lessons, also you can just call me Naru, but not Naru-chan, that's the nickname only my wolf can use. Okay, Naru. Kurenai said, if that was all I would like to go so I can plan how I'm going to train my squad and how your lessons are going to go. You may all go, Hiruzen said. I'm sure Asuma needs to figure out his training regime as well, and Naru has a test to prepare for seeing as her sensei will be using it as a way to assess her skills. With that said, everyone said their goodbyes and left the Hokage to his paperwork. And the next morning Naruto arrived at the training ground at 6 a.m. as he was instructed the day before. He stopped at the edge of the clearing where he saw Sasuke standing leaning against one of the 3 posts. He also sensed that Sakura would be arriving soon. He had a plan he needed to set into action, and seeing as this was his home turf, so to speak, as he had been using this training ground all his life, he knew he had an advantage. You see, he already had about 50 traps and pranks of various types scattered throughout the grounds that just had to be reset or tweaked, forming a ram seal. 20 clones popped into existence. Okay, I want 10 random traps sets a pair up, Naruto said. Once you set the trap, one of you will disperse because according to what the scroll said, I'll receive the memories, that way I'll know which traps are set and can avoid them. However, one of you will stay near the trap disguised as something that blends into the surroundings and watch out for my teammates, seeing as all my traps are meant for Chunin or above and a new Jenin would never notice them. Hi boss, the clones replied as they took off and Naruto walked into the clearing. Naruto Baka, you're late. Sakura yelled. Sorry, Sakura-chan, my alarm clock broke, Naruto said grinning, but seeing as sensei isn't here I don't think it matters. Whatever. Sakura huffed as she returned her attention back to Sasuke. Naruto went and sat next to the stump farthest from his teammates to think of a way to get them to agree to team up. He knew coming right out and asking wouldn't work because Sasuke was convinced that being an Uchiha meant everyone else would be in his way because they were beneath him, and if Sasuke said no, Sakura would just mindlessly follow along. So in order for either of them to follow along, something needs to push them. What can I do to push them? Sakura should be easy after a couple failed solo attempts, and that should open her up to the idea of working together. Sasuke, however, will need more than that. Maybe if I let him get caught in one of my traps and he can't get himself out, he might let go of his ego for a moment. It's worth a shot, but just to be safe, maybe I should let him get knocked around by Kakashi-sensei first just for good measure. Yeah, that'll work, and even if Sasuke does stay stubborn, I'll at least have one teammate so I don't have to spend all my time alone with Kakashi. Because as far as Sakura goes, I have a trump card. Yup, all settled. I gotta pee, be right back. Naruto said as he stood up and ran to the edge of the field and hid behind a bush and made a clone. I want you to go to the other clones and tell them not to stop Sasuke from getting caught, only to help Sakura. Naruto told the clone, and be alert because Kakashi-sensei could be around watching. Hi, the clone said as it transformed into a bird and flew off. I love how useful the transformation jutsu is. It's too bad that most people have only thought to use it to change human forms. Naruto thought as he headed back to the clearing and sat back down in his spot. Naruto closed his eyes and soon found himself asleep as Sakura babbled continually to Sasuke. Finally at 10 a.m. Kakashi showed up to find a ticked-off Uchiha, a sulking Haruno, and a sleeping Uzumaki. You're late, sensei. Sakura shrieked, awakening Naruto and pissing Sasuke off more. Sorry, I got lost on the road of life, Kakashi said, receiving 2 death glares. Anyway, here's your test. He dangled 2 bells in front of the trio. In order to pass, you must get a bell. Kakashi informed. But sensei, there's only 2 bells. Sakura said. Great eyesight. That means at least one of you will not get a bell and will be tied to one of those posts and watch your teammates eat their lunch, then you'll be sent back to the academy. Kakashi said. You have until noon. Start. Sasuke and Sakura took off to hide and plan their moves. Naruto, however, stayed on the field and started a direct assault. I just have to get a bell. Naruto said cockily. Too easy. then launched into what appeared to be random attacks, but Kakashi quickly realized it was Naruto's own personal taijutsu style and that he wasn't even showing his real abilities. That's when Kakashi got behind him and used 1,000 Years of Death. Naruto made another taijutsu assault before going into hiding so Sasuke and Sakura could get their chance and then he could put his teamwork plan into action. An hour after the start of the test, Naruto heard Sakura's ear-splitting scream for the second time. Luckily or unluckily, one of Naruto's clones had been nearby and dissipated so that she was easier to find. When the real Naruto showed up, he was greeted by a hilarious sight. Sasuke was buried up to his head in the ground and Sakura was passed out. Need some help? Naruto asked, laughing. What do you think, Dobi? Sasuke snarled, wake Sakura up so you can dig me out. That's not how you ask for favors. Naruto sing-songed, besides like this you're easier to make listen. With that said, Naruto woke up Sakura. Okay, so I think we have all come to the conclusion we can't get the bells on our own, right? Sakura nodded meekly. I almost had them by myself. Sasuke said. True, but ninja hardly ever go on solo missions. Naruto said, at least in Konoha, and that's because Ji-chan values teamwork, seeing as less bad things happen. So I think this is really a test of teamwork. But why are there only 2 bells? Sakura asked after a moment. To try and get us to fight amongst ourselves and distract us from the whole point of this stupid test. Sasuke said through gritted teeth as he thought about it. Naruto's right, we have to work together, just don't hold me back, now dig me out of this hole. Naruto and Sakura dug until Sasuke's arms were free and he could climb out. So how are we going to this? Sakura asked as she looked at Sasuke. Well, 2 of us should distract him while the other one sneaks up and takes the bells, Sasuke explained. I think Naruto and I should be the distraction while you Sakura grab the bells. I think I have a better idea. Naruto said. Oh yeah, let's hear it then, Dobi. Sasuke said doubtfully. Well, it's just that your plan seems so common and he might see through it, we should think outside the box. Naruto said, I was thinking that only you attack him as the distraction, while I make it look like I'm going to attack and actually kawaii me with the bells, then Sakura just has to pick them up off the ground. As much as I hate to say it, Naruto's plan sounds like it will work better. Sakura whispered. HN. The trio headed back to the clearing to put the plan into action, and it worked. They got the bells, however they were not expecting Kakashi move after the fact. As Sasuke jumped away, Kakashi grabbed Naruto and pinned him to the ground with a kunai to his throat. Okay, Sakura, seeing as you have the bells, you now have a choice to make. Kakashi said, you get to pick who gets the bells and the one without one dies. Sakura was horror-struck as she looked between Sasuke and Naruto. Don't look so confused, these are the type of choices shinobi have to make all the time when on missions. And Naruto and Sasuke-kun can have the bells. Sakura stammered out after a couple seconds of thought, take me and instead, I'm the most useless. You 2 keep the bells. Naruto said, he's already got me anyway. Why don't we just give Kakashi both bells in exchange for Naruto? Sasuke stated. Kakashi sat silently for a minute before nodding his head and standing. You all passed the test. Kakashi said with an eye smile, and you have learned the most important lesson. In the shinobi world, people who don't follow the rules are trash, but those who abandon their friends are worse than trash. Sakura, you were willing to sacrifice yourself for your comrades, as were you Naruto, and you Sasuke put your comrades' safety before your objective. We start missions tomorrow. Meet at the Red Bridge on the edge of the training ground at 8 a.m. for our first mission. You can leave. With that, Kakashi poofed away, leaving 3 confused but happy Jenin. Chapter 8. Mission to the Wave. Over the next 2.5 months, Naruto's schedule consisted of doing D mission in the morning with her team, eating lunch, then doing team formation training until dinner time. After dinner, she would meet Kurenai-sensei at one of the unused training grounds and do her kunoichi lessons, which were thankfully almost over because if Naruto had to arrange one more flower, she was going to throttle someone. Today, Team 7 was doing the Catch Tora the Demon Cat mission for the 3rd time that week. To say all 3 Jenin were frustrated would be an understatement, and luckily for them, Naruto had a short fuse. So after returning the damned cat to its owner, Naruto waited just long enough for the daimyo's wife to leave to express her opinion. Can't we have a better mission, Ji-chan, and how often can one woman lose a damn cat? Naruto whined, I promise I'm ready and I'm tired of catching that damn cat and weeding gardens. Naruto. Iruka said, that is not how you speak to the Hokage. Yeah, Naruto replied, can't we have something more interesting than some boring D rank? Naruto's right, and our teamwork has really improved. Sakura said, right Sasuke-kun. Sasuke agreed. Kakashi, Hiruzen asked, what do you think, are they ready? I think they could handle an easy C rank. He said in a bored tone as he looked at the trio from behind his little orange book. Okay, I have just the job. The Hokage said as he held out a scroll to Kakashi. It's a simple protection detail. Kakashi took the scroll and read it. Okay, met at the main gate at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Kakashi said, you have the rest of the day off to pack and make any other arrangements you need, seeing as I know two of you live by yourselves, make sure to pack for a few weeks. Go. Team 7 left the mission room and headed their separate ways, however Naruto caught up to Kakashi. Kakashi-sensei. Naruto called as he chased after his sensei. Yes, see Naruto. Kakashi asked. Do you know where I could find Team 8 right now? Why? I have to talk to Kuen Kurenai-sensei about something. Naruto said. They should be at their regular training ground, number 8. Kakashi said. Thanks, see ya tomorrow. Naruto shouted over his shoulder as he ran off. And 20 minutes after leaving Kakashi, Naruto arrived at training ground 8 to find Shino, Hinata, and Kiba eating lunch in the middle of the field, but he didn't see Kurenai anywhere. Hey guys. Naruto said. What are you doing here, Naruto? Kiba shouted out. I'm looking for Kurenai-sensei. Naruto explained. Do you know where she is? Don't you have your own sensei? What could you need with ours? Shino asked, curious. Yes, and it's private. Now is anyone going to tell me where she is? Naruto asked. IIC can find her if you want. Hinata stuttered out. Really? Would you? Naruto asked. Hinata nodded and activated her Byakugan. She's T20 meters that way. Hinata said, pointing east. Thanks, see you guys later. Naruto said, running off. She soon found Kurenai. Ku-ni-chan, guess what? Naruto said as she approached Kurenai. What, Naru? Kurenai asked with a smile. My team got its first C-rank mission. Naruto informed proudly, so I was wondering what we were going to do about my lessons because Kakashi-sensei said we'll be gone a few weeks and I did tell Ji-chan I was doing good enough in my lessons to leave the village for missions. Well, all that's really left is I wanted to have a talk with you. Kurenai said. A talk about what? Naruto asked. Well, we have already talked about your natural body functions, like your period. Kurenai said, you know that by shinobi laws as soon as you put on your shinobi headband you are considered an adult. Yeah, so, Naruto said, not really getting the point. Meaning by law you're allowed to have deeper relationships than in the academy, Kurenai said, and Naruto just stood there staring back at her. God, I hope I never have to give this talk again. Kurenai thought, I'm talking about sex, Naru. That got a reaction. What? Why? Naruto shouted, turning beet red. I don't even like anyone like that. Well, not really anyway, I think. The last part was mumbled, but Kurenai heard it. If you were anyone else I would say this talk could wait a while, Kurenai said. Most girls your age aren't actually giving relationship any real thought, it's just petty crushes that will go away in a little while once they have matured. I've noticed that you, however, are already at that level of maturity, and I also know that when you do start to really like someone, it will be because of a real reason, not something superficial like their prestige or looks. Well, I sure as hell am not going to jump them as soon as we're out of the village. Naruto said. I wasn't suggesting you would, I'm just saying that when you finally give yourself to someone, do it for love. Kurenai said. I know there are some shinobi who use it as a way to relieve stress from missions or for missions, but for your own peace of mind I hope you never have to turn to that. Yeah, never going to happen. Naruto said. I already know I'm a one-man kind of woman. But for right now my main concern is becoming stronger as a kunoichi, even if people still think I'm a boy. I want to be able to protect all my precious people because they are the most important to me. Speaking of being a kunoichi, Kurenai said, your team is going on a C-rank mission outside of the village, don't you think you should tell them? I trust them to have my back if we get in trouble on a mission, Naruto said. One of the first things Kakashi-sensei taught us was to protect your comrades, and I'm also getting to know them better, but once we're done at the end of the day we just go our separate ways. So, Kurenai asked. So I know if my house burned down I would not be able to count on them for support until I could get back on my feet. We're just not there, Naruto said. If I can't trust them to let me stay the night, how can I trust them with the secret that protects me all the time? I understand what you're saying, Kurenai said, but I've also come to know you. You're 12 years old and don't trust anyone unless you know them. You are a very open person, but your fear of rejection and being hurt causes you to close yourself off. I think you need to let go of that fear because I don't think anyone has it in them to really close you out once you do open up. I'll try Kune, Naruto said. The two talked for a little longer, then Naruto headed home so she could pack for her mission. She used storage scrolls to pack everything in, seeing as she didn't trust the village to leave any of her things behind. So basically she had several scrolls. One held her girlier clothes, one held her jumpsuits and necessities, i.e. toothbrush, hairbrush, one with her spare weapons, katana, and books for any downtime she got, plus there were a couple other scroll that had their own uses, mainly jutsu scrolls, and the last thing she added to her bag was the scroll of kunoichi-centric jutsus that Kurenai had told her to carry with her at all times until she had them completely memorized. Once she was done packing, she went to Ikiraku's for some dinner, then went home for some extra sleep, seeing as she knows she wouldn't sleep well during her mission. Sorry I'm late, guys, Naruto shouted as he ran to join his two teammates who were standing by the gates. It's fine, sensei hasn't even arrived yet, Sakura said, annoyed. Can he ever be on time for anything? I knew you'd agree with me, Sasuke-kun, Sakura gushed just as the trio noticed Kakashi walking toward them with a drunken old man. Our job is to escort him to his home in the land of waves and protect him until he finishes his bridge, Kakashi said. Will I really be safe with this group of midgets? Tazuna asked as he took another chug out of his bottle. Especially the girly-looking blonde boy. Hey, we're full-fledged ninja, don't underestimate us, Naruto said indignantly. Yeah, the builder said, you're still just a bunch of brats. I'm so great that someday I'll be Hokage, Naruto declared, so one day you'll have to acknowledge me. I won't have to do anything, Tazuna stated. Okay, Kakashi cut in, we could stand here talking or we could get going. It's going to take 2 days to walk to the wave country on foot, so I would suggest we get moving. Let's go, Datbeo, Naruto shouted as the group headed off. The journey was rather peaceful and really boring for the first few hours of the journey. The only thing that happened was some bickering among the Jenin while Kakashi read his book. Then just after middle day, Naruto noticed a small puddle ahead of the group, and seeing as he knew it hadn't rained in a few days, he knew the puddle was some sort of trap, so what did he do? He ran ahead of the group and jumped in the air yelling, Geronimo, like an idiot or small child would if they saw a puddle. I still do that on days in which I'm bored. Closing parenthesis. After stepping out of the puddle, two ninja with crossed-out kiri headbands rose from the water with lumps on their head. Sasuke jumped in to show off his great shinobi skills and protected Naruto. Then Kakashi took care of the rogue nin. After that they continued on and everything was fine until the next day when they ran into Zabuza Momochi. Kakashi fought him but suffered from severe chakra exhaustion from overusing his Sharingan. Naruto and Sasuke ended up having to carry him to Tazuna's house, where they put him in his own room so he could rest. Oh, you're awake, Kakashi-san, Tsunami said, shocked as Kakashi entered the kitchen. Oh, it was nothing much, just some minor chakra exhaustion, Kakashi said and heard a snorting sound for his team's direction. Anyway, I see it's lunchtime, so why don't we all eat up, then we can have a team meeting. Hi, Kakashi-sensei. Sure, sensei, Naruto gritted out, causing Kakashi to stare at her. Once lunch was done, the three Jenin followed Kakashi back to his room to speak. So I'm sure you all have some questions about yesterday, Kakashi said, so we'll go in this order: Sakura, Sasuke, and then last Naruto. So go ahead. Who was that attacked us? And what happened to him? Sakura asked. His name was Zabuza Momochi, Junin level missing nin from Kurigakure, Kakashi said. Also known as Demon of the Hidden Mist and a former member of the 7 Ninja Swordsmen of the Mist, Naruto added, unconsciously getting stares from her teammates. Don't make things up to make him seem stronger, Naruto baka, Sakura said. I didn't make it up, it's in his bingo book entry, Naruto shouted. I read it while in the Hokage office one day. Reet, Sakura said. Naruto is correct, Sakura, so you should listen, Kakashi said. I don't need you sticking up for me, sensei, Naruto snarked. Just tell us about Zabuza. Hi, Kakashi said, waving his hands defensively. As I said, he is a missing nin of Kurigakure. He left his village after his attempt to overthrow the 4th Mazuki, Yagura, failed. So brawn, but no brain, Sasuke said. No wonder he was so easy for Naruto to beat. Yeah, but who was that ninja that took him away? Sakura asked. A fake hunter nin, Naruto mumbled. He probably works for Zabuza. What are you talking about, Dobi? Sasuke asked. Naruto's right again, Kakashi said, getting a glare from Naruto again. Think back to what you learned about Hunter Nin in the academy. What did they do?